তাহলে তাহলে প্রত্যেকটা স্টুডেন্টস এর বুঝতে সুবিধে হবে। So let's start. Perhaps you have heard the word archaeology, because most of the students or most of the common people think that archives and archaeology are same thing. I'm telling you this concept is definitely wrong, because archaeology means those things which are related to ancient history, and the people of archaeology, they are doing the historical work by excavation, by reading the historical monuments or like that. But in archives, those who are working in archives, they are dealing with papers, especially in modern Indian history. That means I'm giving you an example. An archives হচ্ছে মডার্ন হিস্ট্রি নিয়ে যারা কাজ করেন তারা হচ্ছে আর্কাইভ। একটা জিনিস ক্লিয়ার থাকা ভালো যে আমাদের আর্কাইভসে আসলে আছেটা কি। আর্কিওলজি যেমন মাটি খুঁড়ে বা কোনো শিলালিপি, তাম্রলিপি এসব দেখে হিস্টোরিক্যাল কোনো কোশ্চেন বা সরি হিস্টোরিক্যাল কোনো যদি তথ্য পেয়ে থাকেন তারা সেটা লিপিবদ্ধ করেন, কিন্তু আর্কাইভসে কি হয়, আর্কাইভসে হয় মডার্ন ইন্ডিয়ান হিস্ট্রি, অর্থাৎ ব্রিটিশ পিরিয়ডের সময়কাল থেকে যা কিছু সরকারি কাজ হয়েছে তা আর্কাইভসে রাখা আছে। সোজা কথায় তাহলে আর্কাইভসের জিনিসটা কি, আর্কিওলজির সাথে ডিফারেন্স কি? আর্কিওলজিস্টরা অ্যানসিয়েন্ট নিয়ে কাজ করে, আমরা যারা আর্কিভিস্ট আছি মডার্ন হিস্ট্রি নিয়ে কাজ করি পেপার অবজেক্টের উপর। টেলিং ইউ পেপার অবজেক্ট। এবার আর্কাইভস আর লাইব্রেরির মধ্যে ডিফারেন্স, আমি যদি একটা আর্কাইভসে যাই তাহলে কি পাবো, and if I go to a library what I will find? Definitely all of the students know that what library is. লাইব্রেরিতে গেলে প্রচুর ক্যাটালগ দেখি, ক্যাটালগ দেখে আমরা ঠিক করে নিই কোন বইটা পড়বো, কি আমার প্রয়োজন, সেই মতো আমরা রিকোয়ারমেন্ট দিই, তারপরে সেই বইটা পড়ার পর কনসাল্ট করি। তার মানে কি হলো, লাইব্রেরিতে ধরে নিলাম আমার সুনীল গঙ্গোপাধ্যায়ের একটা বই পড়ার ইচ্ছে হলো, প্রথম আলো বা সেই সময়, তাহলে যে কোনো লাইব্রেরিতে গিয়ে পেতে পারি। কিন্তু আর্কাইভস এর কোনো তথ্য বা ডকুমেন্টস জানতে হলে সেই তথ্যটা কেবলমাত্র আর্কাইভসেই পাবো, আর কোথাও আমি পাবো না। এর কারণ তাহলে বেসিক ডিফারেন্স কি দাঁড়ালো? দ্য বেসিক ডিফারেন্স ইজ the content of library may be found in any library, but the content or the holdings of the archives can be found in a single archive. This is the first difference. Secondly, in library, the books are kept in thematic way or alphabetical way or alphabetical order, but in archives, the documents or records are kept in a different way. তাহলে মিউজিয়াম কি? মিউজিয়ামে বিভিন্ন যেগুলো মিউজিয়াম অবজেক্ট বলে আমরা জানি, হয়তো একটা সোর্ড রাখা হলো, একটা গান রাখা হলো, বা কারুর ব্যবহৃত কোনো জিনিস রাখা হলো, সেটা হচ্ছে মিউজিয়াম। আর্কাইভসে কিন্তু এরকম কোনো জিনিস রাখা নেই, আর্কাইভসে আছে শুধু নথি, অর্থাৎ রিটেন ডকুমেন্টস। তাহলে ইন জেনারেল কনসেপ্ট আর্কাইভ জিনিসটা কি বুঝলাম, যে যেখানে সরকারি নথি একটা পার্টিকুলার অর্ডারে রাখা হয়, সেই অর্ডারটাকে কি বলা হয় বা কিভাবে আর্কাইভসে রাখা হয় সেটা আমি পরে ডিসকাস করছি। আমার প্রথম বক্তব্য ছিল, মাই ফার্স্ট lecture was that what is the difference between archives, archaeology, museum and library. Perhaps you understood it. What is the difference between archives and library, archives and museum, archives and archaeology? এবার কথা হলো, খুব কমন সেন্সে যদি আর্কাইভ জিনিসটাকে বুঝতে চাই তাহলে আমাকে একটা দুটো জিনিস বুঝতে হবে। প্রথম কথা, রেকর্ড কি আর আর্কাইভ কি। আবার বলছি, what is archives? If I want to know, then I have to know, or we have to know the difference between records and archives. Records and archives. Records means, actually this record comes from the word recordary. It is a Latin word. The record word comes from a Latin word recordary, that means to recollect or to remember. তাহলে বাংলায় বলতে গেলে কি বোঝায়, যে রেকর্ড মানে হচ্ছে একটা শব্দ যার মানে হচ্ছে মনে রাখা, মানে স্মৃতিচারণ করা বা মনে রাখা, যেটি ল্যাটিন শব্দ থেকে এসেছে। প্রথম গেল এটা। এবার বলি আর্কাইভ। আর্কাইভ শব্দটা এসছে দুটো তিনটে ওয়ার্ড থেকে। প্রথম কথা, একটা গ্রিক ওয়ার্ড আছে আর্কিয়ান, সেটা থেকে আসতে পারে, বা আর্কিয়াম বা আর্কিভাম বলে ল্যাটিন দুটো শব্দ আছে, তা থেকে এসছে। That means archive is a word which is derived from the Greek word archean or Latin word archivum or archeum, যার অর্থ হলো পাবলিক রেকর্ড। পাবলিক রেকর্ড মানে হচ্ছে সরকারি নথি, প্রাইভেট নয়, পাবলিক রেকর্ড। তাহলে আমি দুটো জিনিস ক্লিয়ার করার চেষ্টা করলাম। ফার্স্ট, হোয়াট ইজ রেকর্ড এন্ড হোয়াট ইজ আর্কাইভ। রেকর্ড মানে হচ্ছে যার অর্থ হচ্ছে টু রিমেম্বার, আর আর্কাইভ মানে হচ্ছে পাবলিক রেকর্ড। এবার বলি, এ তো শুনলাম আর ভুলে গেলাম, রেকর্ডস আর আর্কাইভস। আর আর্কাইভসে থাকেই বাকি, আর্কাইভসে থাকে রেকর্ড। খুব আরো সহজ একটা এক্সাম্পল যদি আমি দিই, ইফ আই গিভ ইউ অ্যান ভেরি ইজি এক্সাম্পল, we all use WhatsApp, we all kept our you are the student of undergraduate, so definitely you have passed higher secondary madhyamik, and you have kept all testimonials in a secret place or in a very well manner. Definitely তোমরা প্রত্যেকেই হায়ার সেকেন্ডারি মার্কশিট, সেকেন্ডারি এডুকেশন মার্কশিট, এগুলো তোমরা ভালোভাবে রেখেছো। সহজ কথায় বলতে গেলে যদি বলি, যে তথ্যগুলো বা যে ডকুমেন্টস গুলো পার্মানেন্ট ভ্যালু আছে বলে, বা অফিসিয়াল ভ্যালু আছে বলে, বা হিস্টোরিক্যাল ভ্যালু আছে বলে আমরা রেখে দিয়েছি, সেই রেকর্ড গুলো হচ্ছে আর্কাইভ। আবার বলছি, আমি একটু আগে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপের এক্সাম্পল দিয়েছিলাম, যে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ আমরা সারাদিন প্রচুর মেসেজ পাই, images পাই, we receive so many messages and so many images through WhatsApp, and some of them are very important for us, and sometimes we keep this information or image for permanent use or maybe used for further purpose, so we keep this kind of messages or images in a folder for further purpose. That means আমরাও তো আর্কাইভস রেকর্ডের মধ্যেই আছি। আমি দুটো এক্সাম্পল দিলাম, একটা হোয়াটসঅ্যাপের আর একটা টেস্টিমোনিয়ালসের। তাহলে সোজা কথাই যদি বলছি, এই যে আমি এখন ক্লাসটা নিচ্ছি, এটা তো আমার অফিসিয়াল একটা ডিউটি। So my director has instructed me to attend this lecture, to take this class. So this is one kind of record. If our director thinks যে এই রেকর্ডটা বা এই ডিসিশনটা পার্মানেন্ট ওয়েতে রেখে দেওয়া হোক, যে বেথুন স্কটিশ একটা লেকচার অর্গানাইজ করেছিল আর আমরা কয়েকজন আর্কিভিস্ট সেটা অ্যাটেন্ড করেছিলাম, তাহলে সেই রেকর্ডটা তখন আর্কাইভ হয়ে যাবে। তাহলে সোজা কথাই বলতে গেলে রেকর্ড আর আর্কাইভস এর মধ্যে কি ডিফারেন্স দাঁড়ালো? all those things, all written things are record, and the records which are kept for permanent use, for official use, for further reference, these records are called archives. I think প্রত্যেকেই বুঝতে পেরে থাকবে। আরেকটু করে সহজ করে একটা এক্সাম্পল যদি দিই বা একটা কথা বলি, তাহলে কি দাঁড়ালো, যে all archives are records, but all records are not archives. আবার বলছি, প্রত্যেক দিন আমরা যা কাজ করছি, লিখে রাখছি, মনে রাখছি, এগুলো হচ্ছে রেকর্ড করছি। আর যে রেকর্ড গুলো পার্মানেন্ট ওয়েতে রেখে দিচ্ছি ফর হিস্টোরিক্যাল পারপাস, ফর যেমন আমি এক্সাম্পল দিলাম যে অ্যাডমিট কার্ড অফ সেকেন্ডারি এডুকেশন, কেন কি ওখানে এজ প্রুফ থাকে, বা বার্থ সার্টিফিকেট বা ডেথ সার্টিফিকেট, all are records, but these records are kept for further use, so it is archive. I think এটা সবাই বুঝতে পেরে থাকবে। এবার আমি বললাম আরেকটা কথা, যে all records are not archives, but all archives are records. দিল্লিতে আমাদের ট্রেনিং এর সময় একজন স্যার বলতেন, মহেশ নারায়ণ, উনি রিসেন্টলি মারা গেছেন। তো উনি একটা হিন্দি এক্সাম্পল খুব সুন্দর দিতেন, আমি সেটা শেয়ার করতে চাইবো। আই উড লাইক টু শেয়ার দ্যাট হিন্দি ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ। In Hindi, records are called lake, and archives are called अभिलेख। तो वही सर बोलते हैं, हाँ भाई, जो हम लोग लिखते वो लेख है, और जो लिख लिया वो लेख है, और जो रख लिया वो अभिलेख है। তার মানে কি দাঁড়ালো, যা আমরা রোজ লিখছি সেগুলো হচ্ছে রেকর্ড, আর যে রেকর্ডটা পার্মানেন্ট রেখে দিচ্ছি সেটা হচ্ছে অভিলেখ, মিন্স আর্কাইভ। এইবার এই যে আর্কাইভ বা অভিলেখ, বা মহাপেজখানা বা লেখাগার, বাংলাতে লেখাগারও বলা হয়। এই যে কনসেপ্টটা কিভাবে এলো আমাদের মধ্যে, হাউ দ্য কনসেপ্ট অফ আর্কাইভ কামস ইন আওয়ার কান্ট্রি। আমরা যদি গুপ্ত ডাইনাস্টির সময় দেখি, অশোকের কথাই বলি, আমরা সবাই পুরী বেড়াতে গেলে ধবলগিরি অবশ্যই বেড়াতে চাই, তখন দেখি ওই পাহাড়টায় ওঠার সময় লেফট সাইডে পাহাড়ের গায়ে কিছু লিপি রয়েছে, শিলালিপি যাকে বাংলায় বলি, এটাই তো আর্কাইভ। কেন কি সেই সময় তারা মনে করতেন, তখন তো এই লেখার চলটা ছিল না, তখন তারা মনে করতেন যে রাজা বা মহারাজা যে অর্ডারটা দিচ্ছেন, যে বক্তব্যটা রাখছেন, সেটার একটা পার্মানেন্ট ভ্যালু দরকার, লিখে রাখা দরকার, সো দ্যাট এনিওয়ান ক্যান ফলো ইট। তাহলে সেটাও সেটাও হচ্ছে এক ধরনের আর্কাইভ। তাহলে আর্কাইভস এর কনসেপ্ট কি তার মানে ছিল না তা নয়, আসলে সিস্টেমেটিক ওয়েতে ছিল না। সেই যুগে, অর্থাৎ গুপ্ত যুগে যে আর্কাইভস এর কনসেপ্টটা ছিল, তাকে বলা হতো আকসা পাট্টালিকা। আর আকসা পাট্টালিকা যারা দেখাশোনা করতেন তাদেরকে বলা হতো মহাপাট্টালিকা। অর্থাৎ আমি আর্কাইভ দেখছি তাই আমাকে আর্কিভিস্ট বলা হচ্ছে। In Gupta period, the archivists are called Mahapattalikas and the archives are called Aksapattalikas. এবার চলে আসি মোগল পিরিয়ড। মোগল পিরিয়ডেও আমরা জানি যে টোডরমল অনেক কিছু রিভিনিউ ওয়ার্ক করেছিলেন, যেগুলো যার ভ্যালু আজকের যুগে রেভিনিউ ডিপার্টমেন্ট ফলো করে এখনো। তো আকবর during the period of Akbar also started to keeping records, and that system of record keeping was called Mahapej Khana. If you visit Fatehpur Sikri, you can see this kind of Farsi records are like that. And if you visit National Archives of India, you may find a branch or section, Oriental Records. In that section, you'll find the records of Mughal period, Mughal dynasty. You'll get to know some symbol of Mughal dynasty or Mughal period. But systematic record system was never started in our country. So how the system of record keeping system started in India? How the concept of record system should be continued for further reference? Then we have to discuss the history of French Revolution. Each and every student of history know the history of French Revolution. ফ্রেঞ্চ রিভলিউশনের গল্প বলে আমার সময় নষ্ট করে লাভ নেই, বরং এটা বলি যে কিভাবে এসেছিল। 1789 the French Revolution occurred, and after that the common people of France thought that we should keep these records for further reference, because the Raja Maharaja or Emperor of France may deny that we have never made this kind of promise. So they started for keeping those records. And after that, the modern concept of archives or modern concept of record keeping system started in France, and it was in 1790. তাহলে সোজা কথায় কি দাঁড়ালো, যে সিস্টেমেটিক ওয়েতে রেকর্ড কিপিং প্রথম কারা স্টার্ট করলো, ফ্রান্সের লোকেরা। তাহলে in modern world, France was the first country who started to establish an archive, and it was in 1790. After that, in 1838, British Archives was established. তাহলে 1838 যদি ব্রিটিশরা স্টার্ট করে ইংল্যান্ডে, তাহলে কি আমাদের দেশের কোনো রেকর্ড নেই? আমাদের আর্কাইভসেই তো রেকর্ড সিরিজ আছে পলাশী যুদ্ধের পরবর্তী সময় থেকে। আসলে সেই সময় ওইভাবে হয়তো সিরিজ ওয়াইজ রেকর্ড রাখা সম্ভব হয়নি, কিছু স্ক্যাটার্ড রেকর্ড আছে। বাট আমাদের দেশে, অর্থাৎ 1857 এর আগে অব্দি ইস্ট ইন্ডিয়া কোম্পানি যা কিছু করতো, তারা বোর্ড অফ ডাইরেক্টরস কে পারমিশনের জন্য পাঠাতো, আবার তারা বোর্ড অফ ডাইরেক্টরস অর্থাৎ পরিচালন সমিতি তার আনসার পাঠাতো, অর্থাৎ এভরি 15 days তারা রেকর্ড কিপ করে রাখতো, কি আমাদের দরকার সেটা লিখে পাঠাতেন, আবার তারা সেটা উত্তর পাঠাতেন। আমি এখানে একটা ছোট্ট গল্প শেয়ার করব। আর্কাইভসে বহু মানুষ আসেন যেহেতু এটা একটা স্কিল এনহান্সমেন্ট একটা প্রোগ্রাম, তো আমার মনে হয় প্রত্যেকটা স্টুডেন্টের জানা উচিত যে আর্কাইভসে কি পায়, আর্কাইভসে পড়াশোনা করে কি লাভ, এগুলো আমি সমস্ত কিছু ডিসকাস করার চেষ্টা করব। রিসেন্টলি আমি আমি কেন এক্সাম্পলটা দিচ্ছি, তাহলে স্টুডেন্টস একটু এনকারেজ হবে। আমাদের এখানে মোর দেন 8 ইয়ার্স এর লোকেরাও পড়াশোনা করতে আসেন। And তাদের মধ্যে একজন আমার তো ভীষণ নমস্য ব্যক্তি, নান আদার দেন নিখিল সুর মহাশয়। তো তিনি আর্কাইভস এর নথিকে মনে হয় এইভাবে কেউ ব্যবহার করেছেন অন্তত পক্ষে আমার এই চাকরি জীবনে আমি দেখি। আমি আই হ্যাভ বিন ইন আর্কাইভ সিন্স 2006। তো আমি এরকম কেন দেখিনি বলছি, আমরা জেনারেলি হিস্ট্রিতে কি পড়ি, পলিটিক্যাল হিস্ট্রি পড়ি, কিন্তু এখন হিস্ট্রি লেখার ধরনটাই পাল্টে গেছে মনে হয়। সামাজিক হিস্ট্রি পড়ছি, ফ্যামিলিয়ান হিস্ট্রি পড়ছি, অনেক রকম স্পোর্টস হিস্ট্রি পড়ছি। তো উনি ব্রিটিশ পিরিয়ডের রেকর্ডকে ইউজ করে এত সুন্দরভাবে কিছু বই রচনা করেছেন, যেমন সাহেব মেম সমাচার বা 19 শতকে বাংলা। যে ব্যক্তি মানুষগুলো, যে ক্লাইভের কথাই যদি বলি, আমরা সবাই জানি যে ক্লাইভ পলাশির যুদ্ধে জিতেছিলেন, এই হয়েছে। কেউই কনসাল্ট দা, যে ইন দ্য ইনিশিয়াল টাইম ব্রিটিশ কলোনিয়াল পিরিয়ডে অর্থাৎ ইস্ট ইন্ডিয়া কোম্পানির সময় ওরা যা কিছু করতো বোর্ড অফ ডাইরেক্টরসকে লিখে পাঠাতো। জব চার্নো যখন কলকাতা শহর যখন স্থাপন করলেন, সেই সময় ব্রিটিশ ইস্ট ইন্ডিয়া কোম্পানি কখনো চায়নি, প্লিজ সুইচ অফ ইউর ক্যামেরা সামওয়ান, তো তখন কখনোই ব্রিটিশরা চায়নি যে কলকাতা একটা ব্রিটিশদের ঘাঁটি হোক। তো তিনি খুব চিঠি লিখে পাঠাতেন, তার উত্তর আসতো, চিঠি লিখে পাঠাতেন, উত্তর আসতো। এখনকার মতন হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ বা মেল করে দিলাম চলে গেল তা তো নয়, 6 মাস 7 মাস লেগে যেত উত্তর আসতে। সেই চিঠিগুলো, সেই বক্তব্যগুলো আর্কাইভসে রয়েছে, তা দেখেই ইতিহাস রচনা করা হয়। আমি এই গল্পগুলো বলার পেছনে কারণ হচ্ছে যে আমরা শুরু করেছিলাম বলতে যে ভারতবর্ষে অর্থাৎ in our country when the concept of archives or regular keeping record system started in our country। তো ব্রিটিশরা যদি 1838 করে, তাহলে আমাদের দেশে কি তার আগে ছিল না? অবশ্যই ছিল। তার মানে কি দাঁড়ালো, 1757 এর পর অর্থাৎ ব্যাটেল অফ প্লাসির পর থেকে রেকর্ড কিপিং সিস্টেম শুরু হয়ে যায়। কিন্তু সিস্টেমেটিক রেকর্ড কিপিংটা আর একটু পরে হয়। অর্থাৎ আমাদের দেশে, দ্যাট মিনস ইন ইন্ডিয়া, the systematic record keeping or archive was established in Calcutta, mind it, because Calcutta was the capital of India, and it was in 1891। কত বললাম? 1891। তার মানে ফ্রান্স করছে 1789-এ, ইংল্যান্ড করছে 1838-এ, আর আমাদের দেশে সেটা হচ্ছে আরো পরে 1891। In those days it was not called archive. In those days this office or this archive was called um, sorry, I have to remember, secretariat record room. And after that, when the capital of British India was transferred to Delhi, the archives was shifted to, the records of central government shifted to Delhi. That means it is a general conception of recording system or archives in our country. Now I'll tell you how the records of archives come and how records are kept in archives. But before starting that, if you have any kind of question regarding this, please ask me. আমি অলরেডি ডিসকাস করেছি যে আর্কাইভ কি, আর্কাইভস এর ডিফারেন্স কি, আর আর্কাইভস এর কনসেপ্ট আমাদের দেশে কি করে এলো, আগে ছিল কিনা, এনসিয়েন্ট পিরিয়ডে ছিল কিনা, ব্রিটিশ পিরিয়ডে কিভাবে এলো আমাদের দেশে, সেটার সম্বন্ধে আমি বলেছি। এবার কারো যদি কোনো ডাউট থাকে, কোয়েরি থাকে, তাহলে কোশ্চেন করবে বা শেষে করা যেতে পারে।
Students, if you have any questions, then please post it in the chat box.
Okay, I think the questionnaire will be
asked after the session, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, it will be better. Now I'm telling you, what kind of archives in our country, or what kind of archives are there, বা আর্কাইভসে কি থাকে, আর্কাইভসের ফর্মটা কি, আর্কাইভসে কি থাকে, হাই না মাথায় কি কি আর্টিকেল থাকে বা অবজেক্ট থাকে। আর্কাইভ বিভিন্ন রকম হতে পারে। ইট ক্যান বি পেপার রেকর্ডস, it can be manuscript, it can be printed archives, it can be painting, it can be audio visual records, it can be electronic or digital archives, it can be microfilm archives, but presently we follow the digital archives also. সোজা কথায় আর্কাইভসে কি থাকে, পেপার ডকুমেন্ট। পেপার ডকুমেন্ট অর্থাৎ সরকারি অফিসে যে ফাইলগুলো তৈরি হয় সেগুলো আমাদের এখানে রাখা হয়। এখন এট প্রেজেন্ট আজকের ডেটে সারাদিনে শুধু কলকাতাতে অজস্র সরকারি অফিস আছে, অজস্র রেকর্ড কিপিং হচ্ছে। সব রেকর্ড কি রাখা হয় না? সম্ভব, কোনোদিনই সম্ভব নয়। সেটা পরে আমি ডিসকাস করছি। আগে বলে নি যে কি কি ধরনের রেকর্ড হয়। তার মানে প্রথম কথা, the article or object in archives may be different type. One, it may be paper object, it may be microfilm, it may be digitized record, it may be painting, it may be audio visual, even it may be negative slide. নেগেটিভ স্লাইডটা কেন বললাম, আমাদেরই এটা একটা ইউনিক ক্যারেক্টার ইন ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গল স্টেট আর্কাইভ। এটা ভারতবর্ষের আর কোনো আর্কাইভসে নেই, শুধু আমাদের কাছেই আছে। সেটা হচ্ছে ব্রিটিশ পিরিয়ডে যে সমস্ত রিভলিউশনারি অ্যাক্টিভিটিস হতো, যাদেরকে ব্রিটিশ পুলিশ মানে আইবি পুলিশ সাসপেক্ট করতো, তাদের ছবি তুলে রাখা। সেই ছবির যে স্লাইড, অর্থাৎ এখন তো মোবাইলে তুলছি, তার আগে অ্যানালগ মেথডে ফিল্ম, বাচ্চারা হয়তো দেখে থাকবে, ফিল্মে তোলা হতো অ্যানালগ সিস্টেমে, বাট ইন দোজ ডেজ ওটা একটা গ্লাস স্লাইডে তোলা হতো। সেই 30,000 গ্লাস স্লাইড আমাদের আর্কাইভসে আছে। and this is an unique characters or features of West Bengal State Archive. Personally, I visited at least 12 to 15 archives in our country. আমি ভারতের অন্তত 15 থেকে 16টা আর্কাইভ ঘুরে দেখেছি, কিন্তু কোথাও এই জিনিস নেই। সো ইন দ্যাট সেন্স আর ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গল স্টেট আর্কাইভ এমনিতে ওয়ান অফ দ্য ওল্ডেস্ট, আর এটা একটা ইউনিক ক্যারেক্টার। এটা গেল। তার মানে আর্কাইভসে কি কি থাকলে আমরা বুঝলাম। এবার প্রশ্ন হচ্ছে যে আর্কাইভসের রেকর্ড যেগুলো আছে সেগুলো কি আর্কাইভস নিজেই তৈরি করছে না কিভাবে আছে, সেটা একটা জানা দরকার। আর্কাইভস কোনো রেকর্ড তৈরি করে না। আর্কাইভ ইজ নট ক্রিয়েটিং এনি রেকর্ডস। আর্কাইভ ইজ নট ক্রিয়েটিং এনি রেকর্ডস। দেন হু ক্রিয়েট দ্য রেকর্ড? গভর্নমেন্ট অফিস। আর্কাইভ ইজ সোললি কাস্টোডিয়ান অফ রেকর্ড, মানে আমরা শুধু রেকর্ড গুলো রাখি যাতে নষ্ট না হয়ে যায়। আমাদের 200 ইয়ার পুরনো রেকর্ডস আছে, সেগুলোকে আমরা ঠিকভাবে সাইন্টিফিক ওয়েতে, সাইন্টিফিক মেথডে আমরা কিপ করি, রেখে দিই। আমরা কিন্তু রেকর্ড ক্রিয়েট করি না। রেকর্ড ক্রিয়েট করছে কারা? বিভিন্ন গভর্নমেন্ট দপ্তর। সেই রেকর্ড গুলো তারা তৈরি করছে, তাই তারা ক্রিয়েটার্স অফ আর্কাইভ। দ্যাট মিনস in a nutshell, if I want to say these things or this concept, that archive is the not creator of any record, archive is the custodians of record. এবার এই যে রেকর্ডটা তৈরি হলো বা একটা লেখা হলো, সেটা আর্কাইভসের কাছে এলো, সেটা ব্যবহার কি কারা করেন? ইউজার্স কারা? আর্কাইভসের ইউজার্স হচ্ছে স্টুডেন্টস, স্কলার্স আর গভর্নমেন্ট অফিসিয়াল। তিনটে ব্যবহার। কি কি বললাম? যে একটা এক্সাম্পল দিয়ে বলি, যে নেতাজি সুভাষচন্দ্র বোস, তিনি বেঁচে আছেন না মারা গেছেন, এই নিয়ে মাঝে মাঝে প্রশ্ন উঠে, অনেক টিভি নিউজ চ্যানেল হয়, কমিশন বসে, অনেক কিছু হয়। আমি হয়তো পার্টিকুলার একটা টপিক চুজ করলাম, যে আচ্ছা নেতাজি সুভাষচন্দ্র বসু আমার দেশে কোনোদিন বেড়াতে গেছেন? আই বিলং টু মুর্শিদাবাদ। তাহলে আমি কি করে জানবো? কে আমাকে এই তথ্যটা দেবেন? বা কেউ লিখেছেন, সেটার অথেন্টিসিটি কি আছে সেটা তো আমাকে জানতে হবে। দেন আই হ্যাভ টু কনসাল্ট দোজ রেকর্ডস। কোন রেকর্ডস? হয়তো হোম পলিটিক্যাল বা আইবি রেকর্ড, এবং বিভিন্ন সিরিজ আছে, সেই রেকর্ডগুলো আমাকে কনসাল্ট করতে হবে। তাহলে একটা রেকর্ড তৈরি করলো একটা ক্রিয়েটর, অর্থাৎ কোনো গভর্নমেন্ট অফিস, সেটা আর্কাইভসে এলো। আর্কাইভস এর রেকর্ডে ইউজ করা করছেন those who want to consult those records. That means the students, the scholars or government officials. যেমন রাইটার বিল্ডিং রেনোভেশনের জন্য আমাদের কাছে একটা চিঠি এসেছিল যে আপনাদের আর্কাইভে রাইটার বিল্ডিং এর কোনো পুরনো ম্যাপ আছে বা কি রেকর্ড আছে, তখন আমরা সেটা খুঁজে তাদেরকে প্রোভাইড করলাম। এটা একটা ব্যবহার হলো। কোন স্টুডেন্ট ভাবলেন যে আমি এটা নিয়ে পিএইচডি করব বা এমফিল করব, তাহলে তাকে আর্কাইভস আসতে হবে। আবার লিগ্যাল ডকুমেন্ট হিসেবে ব্যবহার হতে পারে কোর্টের ক্ষেত্রে। হয়তো কারোর একটা কোনো কোর্ট কেস চলছে, সেটা সে কোনোভাবে প্রমাণ করতে পারছে না, archival document can by using the archival document it can be proved. আর কি কি ইউজ হতে পারে? একটু আগে আমি নিখিল স্যারের কথা বললাম, যিনি মনে হয় আমার জীবদ্দশায় দেখা সবচেয়ে ভালো আর্কাইভাল ডকুমেন্ট ইউজ করেছেন তার লেখাতে। আমি পার্সোনাল এক্সপিরিয়েন্স বলি, আমিও কিছু being an archivist we have to deal with all those records, so my experience is different. অ্যাপার্ট ফ্রম পাবলিশিং বুকস, আমি একটা ইডেন নিয়ে আমি লাস্ট ইয়ারে ক্লাস করার সময় বলেছিলাম যে যে অনেক আজকালকার যুগের বাচ্চারা অনেক কম পড়তে চায়, হিস্ট্রি ভাবে যে একটা বোরিং সাবজেক্ট, কোনোভাবে ভালো লাগে না। তো কিভাবে ভালো লাগানো যায়? সবাই মোবাইল ইউজ করি, সবাই প্রচুর আজকাল ইনস্টাগ্রাম, ফেসবুক, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ বিভিন্ন সোশ্যাল মিডিয়া ইউজ করছি। তা হঠাৎ করে মনে হলো ডকুমেন্টারি তৈরি করি। So by using government records, I have made few documentaries, especially on Calcutta. You can watch on YouTube also my channel. যেমন আমি যেটা সবচেয়ে ইন্টারেস্টিং ওয়েতে আমার যেটা ভালো লাগে, আমার পার্সোনালি আমার ভালো লাগে যে আর্কাইভাল ডকুমেন্টস ইউজ করে আমি একটা ডকুমেন্টারি করে ফেলেছি, একটা সিনেমা তৈরি করে ফেলেছি, যেমন ইডেন গার্ডেন নিয়ে করেছি, গঙ্গা ঘাট নিয়ে করেছি। সো দিস ইজ অলসো আই ইউজ, যে সরকারি নথিতে কি আছে আর মানুষ কি জানেন, সত্যি কি যেটা জানেন সেটা সঠিক, এ হচ্ছে ইউজার্স। তাহলে এই গল্প বা এই যে লেকচারটা বা এতক্ষণ যেটা বললাম সেটা হচ্ছে যে কোন কোন এজেন্সি আর্কাইভস এর সাথে ইউজ হচ্ছে। তাহলে প্রথম হচ্ছে ক্রিয়েটার, মানে যে কোনো গভর্নমেন্ট অফিস, তারপর হচ্ছে আর্কাইভস যারা রাখছে, আর হচ্ছে ইউজার্স মানে স্টুডেন্টস, স্কলার, গভর্নমেন্ট এজেন্সি অর এনি আদার থিং। এবার চলে আসি যে আর্কাইভস এর ফাংশনটা কি। আর্কাইভস এর ফাংশনটা কি? দেয়ার আর থ্রি সি। আর্কাইভস এর ফাংশন তিনটে সি দিয়ে ভাববো, সি তিনটে সি কি কি? কাস্টডি, কেয়ার এন্ড কনসালটেশন। তার মানে একটা রেকর্ড যদি গভর্নমেন্টের কাছে আসে, আমি কোশ্চেনের আনসার পড়ে দেবো, আগে পড়িয়ে নি, কোশ্চেন গুলো জমা হোক। প্রথম আসছে একটা রেকর্ড গভর্নমেন্টের কাছ থেকে, রেকর্ডটা এলো আর্কাইভস। তার মানে আমার বিং অ্যান আর্কিভিস্ট মাই ফার্স্ট ডিউটি ইজ টু কিপ দ্য রেকর্ড ইন আওয়ার কাস্টাডি, মানে আমাদের অধীনে রাখা, রেকর্ডটাকে রাখা যাতে ঠিকঠাক থাকে। সেকেন্ড কি? কেয়ার নেওয়া। কেন কি একটা পুরনো নথি থাকতে গেলে তাদের বিভিন্ন ইনসেক্টিসাইড হতে পারে, এর জন্য স্পেশাল ট্রিটমেন্ট করা হয়। মাই নেক্সট ক্লাস যিনি পড়াবেন উনি পড়াবেন কিভাবে আমরা কেয়ার নিই। থার্ড হচ্ছে কনসালটেশন, অর্থাৎ যারা রেকর্ডটা দেখতে আসছেন তারা কনসাল্ট করছেন, মিনস পড়ছেন রেকর্ডটা যে আদতে আছে কি। আবার আমি একটা এক্সাম্পল দিচ্ছি, ইডেন গার্ডেনে সবাই ভাবে ইডেন গার্ডেনে এই মাঠ দারুণ খেলার মাঠ, খেলা দেখতে যাচ্ছি, সচিন সৌরভ করে চিৎকার করছি। I am the first person who made the official documentary on Eden Garden, and it has been acclaimed in various newspapers in our country like Hindu Times of India. আমি কি দেখেছিলাম যে কাগজে এত নিয়ে লেখালেখি হয়েছিল, কারণ হচ্ছে আমি বলেছিলাম দিস ইজ নট দ্য ফার্স্ট স্টেডিয়াম, দিস ওয়াজ দ্য থার্ড ওয়ান, যেটা আমরা অনেকেই জানি না। তো এটা আমি কিভাবে বলতে পারছি জোর গলায়? বাই কনসাল্টিং দ্য আর্কাইভাল রেকর্ড। কেন ব্রিটিশরা লিখে গেছেন এই এই হয়েছিল, ওরা খেলতে এসেছিল, ফোর্ট উইলিয়াম আমাদের বাধা দিয়েছিল। তার মানে কি হলো যে আর্কাইভস এর তিনটে মেন ফাংশন বা আর্কাইভস এর রেকর্ড ম্যানেজমেন্টের তিনটে ওয়েতে হচ্ছে, তিনটে সি। ফার্স্ট ওয়ান ইজ কাস্টডি মানে রাখা, সেকেন্ড ওয়ান ইজ কেয়ার মানে যত্ন নেওয়া, থার্ড ওয়ান ইজ কনসালটেশন। আই থিঙ্ক সবাই বুঝতে পেরেছে। এবার চলে যাচ্ছি যে আর্কাইভসে যে রেকর্ডটা এলো সিস্টেমটা কি, কিভাবে রাখবো। এক গাদা, যেমন আমরা দেখি মাসের শেষে মায়েরা বা বাবারা বা বড়রা আমরা যারা আছি নিউজ পেপার গুলোকে পাঁজা খোলা করে ওই ভেন্ডররা যখন আসেন বিক্রি করে দিই। তারপর হঠাৎ দেখি কিছু রেকর্ড ভালো আছে রেখে দিলাম। তো কোনো একটা জায়গায় তো রাখি, একটা সিস্টেমে তো রাখি। একটা গভর্নমেন্ট অফিস থেকে রেকর্ড এলো আর আমরা ডাই করে রেখে দিলাম, ইটস নট লাইক দ্যাট। দেয়ার আর ডিফারেন্ট কাইন্ড অফ সিস্টেম টু কিপ অল দোজ রেকর্ডস ইন আর্কাইভ। সিস্টেমটা বলার আগে প্রথমে বলে নেওয়া ভালো যে কোন রেকর্ড গুলো আর্কাইভসে আসে। আর্কাইভসে আসার আগে গল্পটা কি, কোন রেকর্ডটা আসছে। একটু আগেই বলছি বা অনেকবার আমি বললাম যে কলকাতায় প্রচুর অফিস আছে, সারাদিন প্রচুর কাজ হচ্ছে সরকারি, প্রচুর ফাইল পর ফাইল। এখন তো ই অফিস হয়, বাট ফিজিক্যালি পেপার ফাইল হচ্ছে। যেমন স্কটিশ চার্চ এই লেকচারটা অর্গানাইজ করেছেন, অথরিটি অফ স্কটিশ চার্চ হ্যাজ অর্গানাইজ দিস লেকচার। So there must be official procedure, there must be some official proceedings, যে এটা অর্গানাইজ করা হলো, আর্কাইভস কে বলা হলো, প্রিন্সিপাল অ্যাপ্রুভ করলেন। So these are the office proceedings. These are the office proceedings. After few years, অর্থাৎ 10 years, মনে হলো যে 10 বছর আগে একটা এইরকম লেকচার অর্গানাইজ করা হয়েছিল, এর কোনো হিস্টোরিক্যাল ভ্যালু নেই। Authority of Scottish Church has decided to dispose this record. যাও এটাকে ডিস্ট্রয় করে দাও, এত কাগজ রাখা যাচ্ছে না। বা কেউ মনে করলেন যে না, এই রেকর্ড গুলো রেখে দেওয়া উচিত, পার্মানেন্ট ভ্যালু আছে, অফিসিয়াল ভ্যালু আছে, দিস রেকর্ড ক্যান বি ইউজ অ্যাজ লিগ্যাল ভ্যালু, সো দে কিপ দিস রেকর্ড। তার মানে ফার্স্ট কাজ, ক্রিয়েটারের ফার্স্ট কাজ যে কোন কোন রেকর্ডের হিস্টোরিক্যাল, অফিসিয়াল আর লিগ্যাল ভ্যালু আছে, আর কোন কোনটার গুরুত্ব নেই। So the creator has to decide two things for segregation the record, which record we have to destroy and which record I have to keep for further use. After segregating or after sorting those records, they classify these records like A, like B, like C. মানে এটা বেশি ভ্যালু, তার থেকে একটু কম ভ্যালু বিটা, তার থেকে একটু লেস ভ্যালুয়েবল সি, সিটাও দেখা গেল কিছুদিন পর রেখে। So in British period, the British official always decide to categorize these records by giving A, B, C. C is the least important, then B comes B. B is more important than C, and A is the highly confidential or very important. And always A category files are kept for permanent preservation. But sometimes it happens that B files also important. But you can't keep all those records, impossible. Like in our daily life, we buy clothes, books, newspapers, so many things, but after a few days we have to destroy or we have to sell those things so that we keep or survive on our small flat like that. তো আর্কাইভস করে কি, এই যে ক্লাসিফাইড রেকর্ড গুলো চলে এলো, এ এলো, বি এলো, সেই রেকর্ড গুলোকে আনা হয়। But before bringing those files, the archivist has to make a transfer list, যে কোন কোন ফাইল এলো। Archive has to make the transfer list. Then after that we have to make a subject list. প্রথমে কোন কোন ফাইল এলো সেটা লিখলাম, তারপরে সাবজেক্ট লিখলাম যে কি কি সাবজেক্টের ফাইল এলো, তারপরে কি করতে হয়, ইন্ডেক্সিং। তিনটে প্রসেস, ফার্স্ট ট্রান্সফার লিস্ট, যে কি কি ফাইল এলো, because all these are government files, you can't কোনটাকে less important দেওয়ার কোনো ব্যাপার নেই। You have to make a transfer list, then you have to make a subject list, then you have to make an index. You have to make an index so that people who are looking for a particular record find it very easy. তাহলে এটা গেল, এই কাজটাকে আমরা বলি অ্যাপ্রাইজাল অফ আর্কাইভ। আবার আরেকটা ক্যাটাগরি ভাগ করা হয় যেটা আইবি রেকর্ডসে আছে বা হোম পলিটিক্যাল বা ইন্টেলিজেন্স ব্রাঞ্চ বা সিআইডির ফাইলগুলো থাকে, ক্লাসিফাইড আর ডিক্লাসিফাইড। সেটা কি জিনিস? ক্লাসিফাইড মানে যেগুলো পাবলিক দেখতে পারে, যেমন আর্কাইভসে কিছু রেকর্ডস আছে জেনারেলি যেগুলিকে কমন পিপল দেখতে পারেন না। ইভেন আমাদের দেখার ক্ষেত্রেও কিছু বার থাকে। কি কি? যেমন কমিউনাল রিলেটিং কোনো ফাইল বা বর্ডার রিলেটেড ফাইল। আই এম টেলিং ইউ, when I was in archive, national archive in Delhi, at that time I was so curious, at least take a glance of the files of Netaji Subhash, but I didn't get the opportunity, or I was not allowed to consult those records. আমাকে দেওয়া হয়নি, হতেই পারে, নাও দেওয়া যেতে পারে, কোনো কারণে আমি দেখে লিখতে পারি। তো দিস আর সাম রেস্ট্রিকশন ফর আর্কাইভাল রেকর্ডস। তো আইবি ফাইল বা সিআইডি ফাইল বা এই ধরনের ফাইলের ক্ষেত্রে ওরা ক্লাসিফাইড আর ডিক্লাসিফাইড করে রাখে, কনফিডেন্সিয়াল, হাইলি কনফিডেন্সিয়াল, আবার কোনো কোনো রেকর্ড তারা দিতেও চায় না। আমি আইবি ফাইলসের উপর কাজ করেছি 1-1.5 বছর লর্ড সিনা রোডে। তো ওখানে জ্যোতি বসুর ফাইল দেখেছিলাম, মোস্ট প্রবাবলি 28টা ফাইল ছিল, তখন আমাদেরকে দেওয়া হয়নি। তো এই ফাইলগুলো খুব ইন্টারেস্টিং, সেটা পরে ডিসকাস করছি। তাহলে আমি এখন অব্দি কি কি ডিসকাস করলাম, যে আর্কাইভস এর সাথে অন্য ইনস্টিটিউশনের কি ডিফারেন্স, আর ডিসকাস করেছি আর্কাইভস আর রেকর্ডটা কি করে হলো শব্দটা, ডিফারেন্স কি, আর ডিসকাস করেছি ফিজিক্যাল ফর্ম অফ আর্কাইভ, আর আর্কাইভস এর কি কি এজেন্সি ইনভলভ আছে, ক্রিয়েটর, আর্কাইভস এন্ড ইউজার। তারপর ডিসকাস করেছি 3C, অর্থাৎ আর্কাইভস ম্যানেজমেন্ট কি করে হয় বা ফাংশনটা কি আর্কাইভস, সেটা বলেছি, কাস্টডি, কেয়ার এন্ড কনসালটেশন। আমি এবার বললাম শেষে যেটা, সেটা হচ্ছে সিস্টেম অফ রেকর্ড কিপিং, অর্থাৎ কোন রেকর্ড গুলো আসে। এবার আমি যেটা বলবো সেটা হচ্ছে রেকর্ড যখন চলে এলো, আপনার বাড়িতে একটা গেস্ট এলে আপনি প্ল্যান করবেন তো তার গেস্টকে কোথায় থাকতে দেবো, কি খাওয়াবো, ইটস লাইক দ্যাট। Archives has a definite policy. Archives has some particular policy. In that policy, we have to keep all those records. সেই পলিসিটার নাম কি? দুটো নাম আছে, একটা হচ্ছে রেসপেক্টিভ ফন্ডস, একটা প্রিন্সিপাল অফ প্রভানেন্স। আই এম টেলিং ইউ এগেইন, there are two policy for keeping archival record. One is respect the fonds, আরেকটা হচ্ছে প্রিন্সিপাল অফ প্রভানেন্স। দুটোর মানে কি? শুনলেই বোঝা যাচ্ছে এগুলো হচ্ছে ফ্রেঞ্চ ওয়ার্ড, বিকজ দ্য কনসেপ্ট অফ আর্কাইভস ওয়াজ ফার্স্ট ইনিশিয়েটেড ইন ফ্রান্স। তো অবভিয়াসলি তাদের এই কনসেপ্ট আমরা ফলো করে যাচ্ছি। কনসেপ্টটা কি? প্রথমে বলি রেসপেক্টিভ ফন্ডসটা কি। রেসপেক্টিভ ফন্ডস পলিসি অনুযায়ী, অ্যাকর্ডিং টু রেসপেক্টিভ ফন্ডস, the records are kept in a bundle. Records are kept in especially geological records are kept in a bundle, and after that these are kept in chronological order. ধরে নিলাম সাপোজ আমার বাবার 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 বার্থ সার্টিফিকেট, ডেথ সার্টিফিকেট সব পেলাম বাড়িতে, কোনো জায়গায় পেলাম, বা ডিড, ল্যান্ডের ডিড পেলাম, বা এই ধরনের লিগাল কিছু ডকুমেন্টস পেলাম। এগুলো কোথায় রাখি আমরা? খুব কেয়ারফুলি রাখি, কোনো একটা সিন্ধুকে রাখলাম, কোনো একটা অ্যাটাচিতে রাখলাম। তো তখন এটাকে বলা হয় রেসপেক্টিভ ফন্ড, মানে এক জায়গায় রাখা। এইবার ওটা ক্রোনোলজিক্যালি সাজিয়ে রাখা হলো, এটাকে বলা হয় রেসপেক্টিভ ফন্ডস। বাট ইন নাওএডেজ the archives around the whole world do not follow this concept, do not follow this concept, do not follow this policy. Then which policy follow the archives? Generally, archives follow the concept of principle of provenance. Principal provenance, what is that? Principal provenance মানে হচ্ছে যে সেই পলিসি, যে পলিসিটার মাধ্যমে রেকর্ডস গুলো রাখা হয়, যেমন ভাবে ক্রিয়েটর তৈরি করে। ব্যাপারটাকে আরেকটু ধীর গতিতে বোঝানোর চেষ্টা করছি, আলো একটু এলাবোরেটলি বলার চেষ্টা করছি। সেটা কি? when a particular department or section of department creates some records, ধরে নেওয়া যাক মমতা ব্যানার্জি এই মুহূর্তে মালদা রায়গঞ্জ কালকে ট্রেনে করে গেছেন, তাহলে তো একটা সরকারি সিদ্ধান্ত হয়েছে যে চিফ সেক্রেটারি ডিসিশন নিয়েছেন, আওয়ার সিএম উইল দিস এন্ড দিস এন্ড অ্যাটেন্ড দিস এন্ড দিস, একটা শিডিউল তৈরি করা আছে, অল গভর্নমেন্ট রেকর্ড। এবার সেই রেকর্ডটা কারা
Hello, sir. Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
sir. Yes. Yes, sir.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello?
You are audible.
Ah,
Okay.
okay, okay,
Good.
okay. Thank you, thank you. So these records are kept in that particular department, and one by one they creating these records. But what happens when these records are huge, makes a huge bulk of records, they keep in a particular series. And after completing 30 years or 35 years, these records will be transferred to an archive. And archives will keep all those records in that particular department, records in a single series or a single cell, so that it will be very accessible for the scholars or very accessible for archivists to find out the particular record. আর একটু সহজ করে বলতে গেলে এটাই দাঁড়ায় যে একটা ডিপার্টমেন্ট থেকে যখন রেকর্ড আসে আমরা তার সিরিজটাকে ব্রেক করি না, যেভাবে তারা ক্রিয়েট করেছে সেভাবেই আমরা রেখে দিই, কোনো থিম বানাই না, কোনো অ্যালফাবেটিক্যাল অর্ডার তৈরি করি না। হোম মিনিস্ট্রি রেকর্ড হোম মিনিস্ট্রি হোম ডিপার্টমেন্টের রেকর্ডে থাকবে, হোম পলিটিক্যালে থাকবে, ফরেন ডিপার্টমেন্টের রেকর্ড থাকবে। এইভাবে এই কনসেপ্টটাকে বলা হয় প্রিন্সিপাল অফ প্রভান্স। ইন এ নাটসেল কি দাঁড়ালো, তাহলে দুটো পলিসিতে রেকর্ড রাখা হয়, একটা হচ্ছে রেসপেক্টিভ ফন্ডস, আরেকটা হচ্ছে প্রিন্সিপাল অফ প্রভানেন্স। Around the world, most of the archives follow the policy of principle of provenance. That records have to be kept in the order in which the creating agency created it. তাহলে এটা চলে গেল দুটো পলিসি। এবার চলে আসি আমরা যে আর্কাইভস এর আর কি কি প্রোগ্রাম আছে, আর্কাইভস কি করে বা আর্কাইভস কি কি ধরনের হতে পারে। একটা তো গেল সরকারি অফিস, একটা গভর্নমেন্ট আর্কাইভস হতে পারে, প্রাইভেট আর্কাইভস হতে পারে, ফিল্ম আর্কাইভস হতে পারে, তারপরে আবার বিজনেস আর্কাইভস হতে পারে। এইটা বলতে গিয়ে আমি একটা বলবো যে the students who are studying masters or honors in particularly in history, they should have give special attention to my lecture so that they make a bright career by completing graduation, especially in history. আমরা ছোটবেলায় শুনতাম যে যারা নাকি পড়াশোনায় ভালো নয় তারাই নাকি হিস্ট্রি পড়ে, আমার তো উল্টোটা মনে হয়। একটা ইন্টারেস্টিং ব্যাপার, nowadays the conception of awareness of archives day by day increasing, ফলে not only government office but also the private agencies also making some archives, and this is an opportunity for the students of history so that they can make a career by taking training, archival training, and join this kind of archives. তাহলে আমি এটা কেন বলতে গেলাম যে আর্কাইভস কেবল গভর্নমেন্ট অফিসই তৈরি করে তা কিন্তু নয়, নাওএডেজ প্রাইভেট কনসার্ন অফিসগুলো আর্কাইভস করে, ফিল্ম আর্কাইভস আছে, বিজনেস আর্কাইভস আছে, বিভিন্ন ধরনের আর্কাইভস আমাদের দেশে বর্তমানে আছে। এবার আর্কাইভাল অ্যাওয়ারনেসের জন্য আর্কাইভস কি কি করতে পারে? What kind of programs generally an archive organize for awareness of archival science or archival skill or archive, what archive is? They may organize seminar, they may organize an exhibition, they may uh, they may publish some books on archival documents. Generally এই তিনটে জিনিসই দেখা যায়, একটা এক্সিবিশন করা হয় আর্কাইভাল ডকুমেন্টস এর উপর, যেমন আমরা লাস্ট ইয়ারে করেছিলাম, আগের ইয়ারে যে বিদ্যাসাগরের উপর একটা আমরা এক্সিবিশন অর্গানাইজ করেছি। So what was the special features of that exhibition? আমরা সবাই জানি বিদ্যাসাগর একজনই ছিলেন, ঈশ্বরচন্দ্র বিদ্যাসাগর, but most of the students will be surprised to know that in those days there are so many Vidya Sagar, so many Vidya Alankar, Vidya Ratna like that. How can we prove that? We can prove by showing the archival documents, by showing the government documents. And this awareness can be done by organizing an archival exhibition. তাহলে এটা গেল একটা। Secondly, we can organize seminar. Like this is also a seminar. This is uh, virtual form, so we are calling this webinar. But this is also seminar. This is also an awareness program. And last one is publication. We publish 13 books till now. We publish 13 books till now for archival awareness. Like so many books are there. I'm giving one more example. That everyone knows that on 25th Boishakh, মানে 25শে বৈশাখ রবি ঠাকুরের জন্মদিন। Generally, it falls on 7th or 8th or 9th May. But in archival documents, if you know or if you see the archival documents, you will definitely surprised. What is that? রবি ঠাকুর যখন বিদেশে যান তখন গভর্নমেন্টকে অ্যাপ্লাই করেছিলেন যে উনার নাকি 6th মেতে জন্ম। তো ইন্টারেস্টিং ব্যাপার, 6th মে কখনোই 25শে বৈশাখ পড়ে না, অন্তত আমি জানি না, হতে পারে আমার জানার ল্যাকিং থাকতেই পারে। এটা একটা ইন্টারেস্টিং ব্যাপার। তো আমরা রবি ঠাকুরের উপর একটা পাবলিকেশন করেছি, যে পাবলিকেশনটার কোথাও পৃথিবী পাওয়া যাবে না, বিকজ উই হ্যাভ মেড দ্য পাবলিকেশন বেসড অনলি archival document, যে শান্তিনিকেতনে পুলিশ কিভাবে দেখছেন। So this is also an awareness. And personally, as I told you earlier, I made few documentaries which is available in YouTube based on archival documents. সিনেমায় তৈরি করে ফেলেছি, so that ছোট লোক জানুক, যদিও এসব খুব বেশি মানুষ দেখেন না। If you are interested, you can see in my YouTube channel, সুমিত ঘোষ টাইপ করলে পাওয়া যাবে যে ইডেনের গল্পটা বা কলকাতার গঙ্গাঘাট। And more surprisingly, I am telling you যে আমি এই ডকুমেন্টারি তৈরি করার জন্য নিজের পকেট থেকে টাকা করেছি, আমার ভালো লাগে, আমার প্যাশন। So these things are we doing for the awareness of archives. Now I'm telling you some important information regarding archives, which I've already told in my discussions, that National Archives of France was established in 1790. The first archives in the world is Archives of France, and second is in 1838 the British Archives was established, and in India in 1891 in Kolkata Imperial Record Room, which was formerly which was the former name of Indian Archives or National Archives of India. And at the end of my lecture, I'll tell you what is the aim and object of archives. Archives এর উদ্দেশ্যটা কি, আর্কাইভস কেন রাখতে যাবে, আদতে তো পুরনো কিছু নথি, সেটাই তো বেশিরভাগ লোক ভাবেন। But what is the importance of archives? Archives is the storehouse, treasure house of government records. Archives is the heritage of a country. Archives is the only office or only institution which give you authentic information to the scholars, to the users, to the government officials, to government. Archives is the office from where you can get a legal evidence. Archives is the office where the records are kept, and these records are used, can be used as reference. And for scholars, for the research, it can be used research purpose. So I think I tried my best to make you convinced what is archives and records. Now you will ask me questions so that it will be more understood. One by one, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for such an informative session. Now, the first question is from Shori Ghosh from Scottish Church College. Now, he asked that the foreign travelers in the medieval times left us the accounts on polity, socio-economic, cultural developments of the time. Now, whether we can consider those as the archives of medieval period or not.
Very good question, interesting question. In medieval period, we can see the description from Fahian or Humansang or like that. Okay, so this may be used an archival document, but I'm telling you, human memory or uh, if we go through the what I will say some what I'll say মানে সোজা কথা যেটা বলি যে আমরা আমাদের একটা পার্ট আছে ওরাল আর্কাইভ আগে ওরাল আর্কাইভ বলে দিই তাহলে ইট উইল বি ইজিয়ার টু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড there is a section of in archives that is called oral archives. When I published my books on my native place, so I visited so many people and asked them how was our city, how was our village before 50 years, and how was the situation when India was got independence, like that. And they try to remember maybe these kind of things. And so all those things are a human memory. And human memory, we can't believe that human memory. We have to tally with other records also. For the question of Sotri medieval documents, in the period of Madhya, we don't have any other options. So we have to rely on those records. And not only that, if we consult those records, like the description of Farian or Hivenson, obviously these are authentic because we don't have any other option. First one. Secondly, these people describe only the life of the kings and around their people. And you know, যে আমি যার খাবো তার সম্বন্ধে খুব বদনামি করব না। ইন কমন সেন্স আই থিঙ্ক দ্যাট যে আমাকে যদি আমি কারোর কাছ থেকে টাকা পয়সা পাই ভালো কিছু খেতে পাই তা আমি তার সম্বন্ধে খুব সুনাম গাইবো, অর্থাৎ খুব ভালো ভালো কথা বলবো, নেগেটিভ কথা বলবো না। বাট ইন গভর্নমেন্ট রেকর্ডস, ইন ব্রিটিশ পিরিয়ড রেকর্ড, ইউ উইল সারপ্রাইজ টু নো দ্যাট দ্য ইন্ডিগো রেভিলিয়ন সব ব্রিটিশরাই কি সাপোর্ট করেছিল? নেভার। লর্ড অকল্যান্ড, স্পেশালি লর্ড অকল্যান্ড এটাকে হাইলি মানে বিরোধিতাও করেছিল যে না এটা করা উচিত নয়। You can see this kind of records in only in archives, but the description of medieval period, obviously we have to rely, but maybe some things are biased. I think so. It's my as far as my experience goes, I am telling you that. Next question.
So the next question is from Anish Dotro from Scottish Church College as well. Does government documents include all the types of documents like the classified files that are preserved in the archives?
If government thinks that this particular document or file has historical value or some these documents can be used as official documents, then government decide that it should be kept for permanent use. Generally, in our country, a particular record or file, at least we have to keep it for 30 years. Like me, I'm doing my job. I have a service book. I have some leave files or like that. Everyone has in their office. But when after 50 years of my
Sir, you are muted. Yes.
Excuse me.
am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry. So after 50 years of my retirement, there will be no value because I am not so important like Surendranath Chatterjee, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. So definitely there will be no value for this kind of records. Obviously, these records will be destroyed. So in a nutshell, if I want to say, if government thinks that after 30 years this record can be kept for permanent use or official, obviously it will be kept. Otherwise, it will be destroyed because we have limited space.
All right, sir. Sir, our vice principal, sir, has joined. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to the next question, that is from Janet Andrews from Scottish Church College. Is there any special method to take care or preserve the archives? I think this question will be best answered by the next speaker. I think so. Would you like
Obviously.
to answer this, sir?
Sure. There are so many methods like by applying chemicals, by actually the next lecture will be on this particular topic. She will explain everything, but
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you in brief. Okay, apart from chemical, by applying chemicals or like that, we have to keep all records in a particular ideal place. Like the temperature should be 20 to 25, the moisture should be such a percent, or we keep our records in 24 hours air conditioned position, so that the records should not be damaged. And not only that, we have to regularly check, we have to regularly dusting the records, we have to clean these records, all those things we have to check. If some particular records are insecticide, this particular record should be separated from the series and keep it in a fumigation chamber, so that the other records should not be damaged. And by keeping in fumigation chamber, it should be recovered, it should be taken care like before that. And if the records are torn, we apply some special kind of treatment like tissue paper, by handmade lamination, so many things. And for the one more thing I would like to add on this particular topic, that nowadays we are emphasized on a particular thing, that digitization of records, so that people don't have to directly handle the physical records. They can read all those records on screen. It is a process, long process. A lifetime is not enough for digitize all those records. I'm telling you, a lifetime is not enough for digitizing all records, because we have so many records, so many records. Next question.
Moving on to the next question. This is from one of our faculty of history department. He has asked that apart from the national archives and the state archives, college and university archives and corporate archives, we also have National Film Archives at Pune. Could you please comment on the importance of these archives in the historical context?
Excellent, excellent. Especially, I'm fond of film archives, because fortunately I got an opportunity to visit some film records. Okay, so it was part of National Archives in Jaipur. Okay, and if definitely you can see that. Before that, telling him that Hindi cinema or Indian cinema, definitely cinema is the replica of our social life. Everyone agreed with me. So in Jaipur, I have seen a particular document. The film was Kurbani. And before starting in a movie, we can see a certificate from government office that this film is approved for showing the people. So in that record, in those days, the film authority or producer of the film has to submit whole file story, even lyrics also. And some of the lyrics has been underlined to remove from this song. And I can remember those songs very vividly. Hum tumhe chahate, so it's like that. So I can make the point that in those days, 30 years back, because this particular film was released 30 years back, most probably, this word was not approved by the central government. But nowadays you can see, so there is a changing. So cinema is the replica of our social life. Anyone can make a PhD on cinema. Anyone can make a history on social life on by consulting all records. And Pune archives, film archives, it is governed by central government. So it is an interesting archive.
Moving on to the next question, sir. This question is from Shobhik Mondol from Herembo Chandra College. Who have the power of declassified of a classified file?
Obviously, the creator of the records, like IB records, the DC of the IB office, that means intelligence branch, has to decide which records can be consulted by the public or not. So this is entirely entirely depends on the authority of that particular department. Like in government office, like if I suppose, I think if I choose the department, higher education department, the principal secretary of our department will decide which record will be kept or not. He is the prime authority of that regarding this issue, not archives. Archives is the only custodian, not creator. আমরা শুধু রাখি, ডিসিশন নিতে পারি না.
All
Any more
right, sir.
question?
Moving on to the next one. Uh, this question is from Srilekha Odhikari from Shyama Prasad College. আর্কাইভ শব্দটির উৎপত্তি কোথা থেকে হয়েছে?
That I have discussed at the beginning of the class. Again, I'm telling you, archive is a word which is derived from the Greek word archean and Latin word archeum. Okay, and I will provide you the notes also, study material, so that you can read from that note.
All right, sir.
It will be better for the students if they can attend this lecture physically. It will be better for them. They can. But I am telling you, all my students, here, all my students and the teacher, respected teachers who are attending this lecture, please welcome to our archives. Anytime, just ask me that you are coming. I will show you the all kinds of things archives, because this is interesting archives. Not only that, definitely you will be love this archives. I assure you.
Certainly. Yes, sir. Okay, moving on to the next one. This question is from Shondipan Chaudhary of our history department. Can we intern in the archives as undergraduates?
You have to take a special permission from our director. If you come archives with the recommendation of your departmental head, you will definitely be entertained. There will be no problem. And if you don't have any kind of recommendation from your institution, then you have to take a special permission from our director. And generally,
Sir,
she gives permission.
Sir, adding to that, I would like to ask another question which Shondipan Das has posted just now. What is the impact of RTI on the accessibility of the archives?
Oh, interesting. So many questions, so many letters, emails we are receiving regularly, because RTI is like that anyone can ask anything. But if someone asks what is the fate of the file of Netaji Subhash, so we will answer you, because we have to answer. We have to make some answer. Then in that case, we have to say that these files are under consideration, or this file is under the observation of home department. So we can't make any kind of comment on this particular topic. Right? Obviously, there is a huge impact of RTA, because so many people are asking this kind of questions.
All right. A question from Kushumika Ghosh from Bethune College. How did, through the government letters, before 1838, the personal side of Clive's life could be discussed?
Will you repeat this question?
Yes. How did, through the government letters before 1838, the personal side of Clive's life could be discussed?
Oh, interesting question. I'm sharing my own experience. When I was in National Archives, so apart from my research work, I consulted so many records. So I got a particular record. In that file, it was mentioned that after winning the Battle of Plassey, Lord Clive spent a lot of money on drinking. মানে খুশিতে এত পাগল হয়েছিল, he organized a huge party, and it was all the people who were fond of drinking, and because the British didn't got any other opportunity to do so. And after getting this information from East India Company, from London office, they rebuffed Lord Clive. Who told you, how dare you to spend so many things on this particular topic? So this is a clue. By using this clue, you can write something. And not only that, if you think that Clive came to India as a writer, as in those days, the writer was got only £5 in a year. But after on the Battle of Plassey, he got his share was huge. And it is an interesting fact. Recently, I posted in a Facebook that Clive, a British Chokra. And obviously, I was inspired by reading the books of Nicholson. these things are actually in government file, you will not get this, যেমন করে বলছি সেভাবে তো ফাইলে থাকে না, অনেক বেশি কনসাল্ট করতে হয়, কোন একটা ক্লু পেয়ে গেলাম, লাইক আই এম টেলিং ইউ one more example, that when railway was established in our country, when railway was established in our country in those days, তখন রেল লাইন তৈরি হতে লাগলো, তাহলে একটা স্টেশন তৈরি করতে হবে, স্টেশন করতে গেলে কি করতে হবে, একটা কোয়ার্টার তৈরি করতে হবে, কোয়ার্টার তৈরি করতে গেলে স্যানিটেশনের ব্যাপার আছে। তো এই যে স্যানিটেশনের কনসেপ্টটা ইন্ডিয়ানরা জানতোই না, যেরকম একটা টয়লেট হয়, লোকে মাঠে ঘাটে চলে যেত, তো রেকর্ডে তো এটা লেখা থাকবে, ইউ হ্যাভ টু ইন্টারপ্রিয়েট দ্য রেকর্ড, এটাই হচ্ছে গল্প। এনি মোর কোশ্চেন?
Yes, sir. This is a question from Abhishek Kumar from Shama Prasad College. Is oral archive reliable?
Obviously you can rely on the oral archives when you don't have any other option, but you have to tally those information with secondary source or primary source, so that how much it can be reliable. In those days, in those case, when we writing something that শোনা যায়, এটা কথিত আছে, like that, কেন কি হিউম্যান মেমোরি তো আমরা ভুলে যাই, তো ওই সময় রেকর্ড দেখে ওটাকে ট্যালি করতে হয় যে কতখানি এটা বিশ্বাসযোগ্য, যিনি রাইটার তিনি সেভাবে পিএইচডি কপিতে লেখেন যে এটা শোনা যায়, গভর্নমেন্ট রেকর্ডে এটা আছে, কিন্তু ওখানকার লোক এটা বিলিভ, ইট ইজ বিলিভ দ্যাট সাচ এন্ড সাচ, এই রকম আর কি।
Okay. Then the next question is from Abhishek Banerjee from Shama Prasad College. Which is the oldest archive in India?
Obviously the Imperial Record Room, that means the National Archives of India. In those days it was in Calcutta, because it was established in Calcutta in 1891, and in 1913 it was transferred or shifted to New Delhi.
Sir, then we have a very interesting question from Bethune College, Shuprima Shehnaz. The records which can't be accessed by common people, if someone from the department leaks it or write a book on it, would it be a criminal offense?
এটা তো legal, it's a legal question. Like I told you so many times that I have made documents like that. So before doing so, you have to take permission from your higher authority. So if someone leaks this kind of record, like communal records or border related records, it should not be happen. But if it is proved, then disciplinary action may be taken to that particular person.
All right, and now I think we need to wrap up. Now the next question, yes, well, the next question is from Shohini Dotto. What is digital archive? So I think Shohini, this question will be answered shortly after a series of extension lectures later on. Now, another question that is from Shravandeep Chaudhary from Scottish Church College. Is there any separate archives of international trading?
No, this kind of archives we don't have, or actually what is going on, generally what happens, the records are kept in government office, there are no separate office or archives like that, but nowadays some business organizations are making archives in which this kind of records may be available.
All right, and this last question. Yes, and the last question of this session is, what are the different types of archives in India? This question is from Ashwini Kumar, Shama Prasad College.
Okay, there are so many types of archives in India. The first one, the government office or government archive, business archive. Any institution or business organ may organize this kind of records, film archives, or in government office. In our country, there are few concepts are, you can see that in our state there is only one archive, the state government archive, but in state like Bihar there are so many district archives also, there are regional archives also. So this is in our country there is no particular concept regarding this issue. You may find government office at least one archive in a state level. You may find in district level also, because the district record room also an archive.
All right, sir. So this is it. Thank you. So we really need a very short break uh, in order to start the next session. So thank you, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you,
thanks
sir.
everyone.
Thank you so much. I think the questions attest to how much the students enjoy. And
Please
they are
stay
still.
connected, all of you. We'll be
Yes.
back with the next session.
Yes.
Okay, I will send. Please text me or please text me or inform Vidisati in which number or which mail ID I have to send the study material. It will be
Sir, this is Srimoy. I will contact with you. I will just send a hi in your WhatsApp. You can send me the material. I will forward it to the students.
okay, ma'am. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Students, let's take a very, very short break of 5 minutes and let's wait for the second speaker to join us. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
5 minutes.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, all the students. Hello? Hello?
Yes, you're audible. You're perfectly audible.
Achha, can you all hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good afternoon, ma'am. And good afternoon, all the students. My topic is, sorry. I'm Shashi Subba, and my topic of discussion is reprography digitization. Actually, before me, I had my colleague Maumita Chakraborty. She was supposed to take on conservation, right? Hello?
Yes,
yes.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She was supposed to take.
Yeah, she was
yes.
taking the class on conservation. So
Yes.
after that only, it was my turn to take reprography, because even this reprography falls under conservation only. So before I start reprography or digitization, let me tell you few conservative procedures. There are few procedures which we follow in conservation, like preventive, that Momita will tell later onwards. Okay, she will explain all these. I'm just telling you a few points only so that I can start my discussion. So there are few measures which we follow in conservative methods. So there are preventive measures, curative measures, restorative and duplicative methods. And this reprography falls into duplicative conservation. Duplication of records is an important aid to conservation. All efforts are taken towards proper storage and preservation of documentary heritage. As you already know that what archives is and what records are, I don't need to tell that, isn't it? You all must have understood what kind of records we have in archives, how brittle, how old, fragile documents we have. So we have to take some measures to preserve these records. For that purpose, we have to follow all this kind of conservation and all, and together with that, there are few measures like reprography. Reprography means reproduction of the original records without any wear and tear. The copy should be the exact of the original records. So in spite of taking all precautions and remedial measures for preserving the documentary material, the collection keeps deteriorating. After all, nothing is permanent. Even the records are all made of paper. So day by day, everyday use and tear, even just like keeping also, it becomes fragile. It gets acidic in nature, due to climatic conditions, and also this is basically due to the organic nature of the records, which is inherently perishable. Looking at the vulnerable condition of some collections, they are not made available for reference purposes, as repeated handling will further damage the records. Information contained in these documents must be made available in some form to persons seeking it without damaging the original. Even to protect the records against the war, the International Organization UNESCO urged all its member countries to establish, maintain photographic documentation of their cultural heritage. So now let's come to reprography. What is reprography? Actually, this reprography words is originate are made of Latin and Greek words. Re, that's Latin word meaning again, and pro, that is again Latin, that means in place of, and graphos, Graphos, that is Greek, means writing. Thus, reprography literally means writing again in place of original. Use of reprographic techniques now enables us to obtain exact copies from original documents. According to the British Institute of Reprographic Technology, reprography includes document copying, the reproduction of engineering drawings, microfilms, and related techniques, duplicating, office printing, and ancillary process. In other words, every method of producing copies from any type of original in any quantity and by any process as a function of business and other administrative operations. The Glossary of Micrographics, published by the National Microfilm Association of the US, defines the term as the art and science of reproducing documents. Now, the reprography unit of the Directorate of Statistics, our office, normally uses three reproductive methods. That is, one is microfilming, second photocopying, and third digitization, which we have recently started. Reproduction of record is done basically for archival preservation and for supplying of records to the scholars on payment. In recent years, digitization has been adopted by this office extensively for preserving archival records and for electronic data sharing. The Mughals left, actually it's the Mughal rulers who left a legacy of record keeping for later administrators. It was the Mughal Emperor Akbar who, in the year of 1574, initiated the idea of establishing a record repository to keep records in a proper way. He had constructed a building for keeping records, documents, and that was called Daftar Khana, and that was constructed near to his palace in Fatehpur Sikri. Then the European nations, impelled by similar administrative necessity, decided to continue with the existing tradition, Mughal tradition. Okay, among them, the East India Company was the most successful in carrying on the tradition of record keeping, as the company was answerable to the court of directors in England and had to give proof of each and every transaction. The company officials started recording every official correspondence, day-to-day correspondence, for future reference. And then the proper systematic and scientific preservation of administrative and other records and establishment of archives as centers for preservation was incepted during the British reign. After development of the idea of the necessity of preservation of records, government officials and record keepers formulated procedures for keeping and maintenance of records, which proved to be convenient for handling and retrieval of them. However, there were distinctly two different aspects of preservation of records. First is their use of administrative and academic purpose, and the second is to preserve them in a manner so that they can be used for maximum possible period. After long and intensive research and development work, the primary enemies of rickets were identified. The two main types of these enemies are airborne biological species and chemicals, and secondly, various living insects. So what happened is slowly, after one and another department, rickets started accumulating, and they were kept in one room. And due to climatic conditions, as you all know, climates of Bengal, it's humid and sometimes not mostly humid, you can say. So what they say is the rickets are deteriorating. Like if it is very much humid, the rickets get mold, fungi and all, and acidic in nature, and insects like that is called white ant. That white ants also very much harmful for the rickets. So when they saw all these enemies of rickets, they started, scientists and researchers work in this field for years to find out ways how to eradicate all these enemies of rickets and thereby maximizing their life on various media. So they started looking for some alternatives because these are physical rickets, original rickets. We have to keep them safe. For that thing, it is not possible. After all, these are made of paper. So preserve this, they have to look for some alternatives which they can keep in some other materials or some other materials, stays, whatever form, at least they could save the documents. Nowadays, various types of records or documents are preserved in archives, which may be manuscripts or printed or typed, microfilm rolls, film and glass negatives, photographs, cartographic records, tooths, audio recordings, and etc. Like we have in our archives paper records and film negative records also we have in our photo archive section, and glass slides negatives, those are made in glass, and some photographs, positive photographs also we have apart from our this thing, apart from paper records. And cartographic records, we have good number of cartographic records as well in our custody. Before the British era, there was no proper attempt to make geographic or cartographic documentation of vacant lands, living areas, forests, etc. The process of classification of official records following a scientific system was also being carried out for administrative purposes. But as years passed, it was felt that all these individual records and documents, whatever medium they are created on, are inevitably perishable after a certain period of time. So, methods of extending their lifespan, both preventive and curative, were invented and practiced. So, am I being fast? Hello? Hello?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No.
You're absolutely
Now,
okay.
am I going fast so that you all are having problem understanding me or writing, I suppose? If I'm going fast, you can tell me, all right?
I think you can continue, ma'am.
Okay. Now, if they're having problem writing or copying, or they are doing like that, so they can tell me, ma'am, if I'm going fast.
Okay, students, if you feel you need to communicate, you can write in the chat box so that ma'am can see. Otherwise, you may continue, ma'am. Yes, a little slow pace will be great to follow. They have
A
written.
little slow pace would be great to follow. Yeah, actually, I have heard these days students are finding very difficult to write after long days of gap and all. No, that's why I'm saying it's okay then. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
ma'am.
Both preventive and curative were invented and practiced, right? But even after undergoing all such measures, no record would last forever. Their rate of decay became slower. Yeah, by taking all preventive, curative, and all these restorative measures and all, what we could do is we could prolong the lifespan of the records and documents, but we don't have in our hands that we totally stop them for deterioration. So the rate of decay became slower, but could not be stopped forever. Keeper of records of various repositories therefore had to think for some reasonably effective solution to the problem, which was reproducing copies of the original records. Then what they thought is they have to reproduce the records. That is the only solution, because by reproducing the records will be the exact copies of the original. So so that would be better. If original records deteriorates or destroys or something like that, at least you can have the exact copies of the records for future reference, for future scholar, for future administrative purposes, and etc. Okay. In earlier years, handwritten copies were made, after which several machines appeared in the market, like manual photocopiers, photostats, etc. Even during British period, what they used to do is when the East India Company had just started, that time what they used to do, they were under the Court of Directors in London. They were responsible, as I told you earlier, they were responsible for each and every transaction to them. So they have to write. They had to write every time to the Court of Directors. And even they used to get letters from Court of Directors, instruction and directions or whatever. So what they used to do is they used to put those letters to and fro, that is called, those two letters they used to put in file. That became original consultation, and they used to employ several writers, and the writer's duty was only to make the duplicate copy from that original files, and they used to bound them monthly basis in a one volume, and those volumes are called proceedings volumes, and the original letters, that is called original consultations. Okay, that is also one example of copying, making duplicate copies by copying, handwritten duplicate copies. As years passed, these machines were improved quite a lot in various aspects. The first practically feasible methods of mass copying of records and their preservation thereafter appeared in the form of microfilming. As I told you earlier, in the reprography procedure, we follow three. Even not only us, but even in wherever you go, National Archives, all over the archives, they have started with microfilming only, and then come xeroxing. Xeroxing is not for preservative method, that is for dissemination of knowledge, or we can say for sharing of knowledge. Through xerox copies, we give records, xerox records to the scholars, whoever asked for the records of the original. When they don't have time, they come for studies in the research room, and they want the records, and that time we make the xerox of those original records and supply to them. So let's come to microfilming. Thereafter appeared in the form of microfilming. Microfilming is a photographic process. Louis Daguerre was the person, he was French photographer. He was the person who invented the process of photography in 1839. The concept of preservation of rare and valuable records by copying them on very small format films was first proposed by Sir John Herschel. John Herschel, Herschel, John Herschel in 1853. But His proposal was actually materialized after 85 years in 1938 when rare and valuable books in the British Museum and several newspapers were copied on 35 film. After a long period of research work, perfect types of cameras, film, chemicals, and reproducing media were invented. Microfilming, therefore, was accepted universally for copying and preservation of records on papers and documents on other media by almost all archives and other repositories throughout the world. Now, what is microfilming? Microfilming is a process of turning a document into microfilm. Documents could be anything like newspaper, handwritten documents, and printed, anything, any documents by converting them in microfilm. Let me tell you how microfilm is created. A specific camera or microfilm camera is used for taking photographs of all documents or materials, and the image is captured on a roll of microfilm. After photographing the material, the microfilm is processed in chemicals and make the rolls. If the microfilm is exposed to light before it is processed, the film will likely to be ruined, and one cannot be able to see any images that captured. After creating rolls, the microfilm is packaged in individual containers and labeled for future use. The microfilm comes in 100 feet long, 35 centimeter, and if it is kept properly in scientific measure, it will last for 500 years. 500 years. This makes it great for long-term preservation and minimal storage because it's very small in size and it doesn't occupy the large space like what original files occupies. Okay, so advantages of microfilm, like preservation is easy as the microfilm rolls occupy just now only I said occupy very less space comparing to the original records, and several duplicate copies can be prepared from the processed film. First processed film is called master copy or master rolls. After that, from that roll, you can make several duplicate copies or several photographs you can print out from that original master rolls. And disadvantage number one, no alteration and addition can be done once microfilm rolls is ready. Once microfilm rolls is ready, as you have seen, perhaps I don't know whether you have seen or not, analog camera and all those kind of rolls, film negative rolls. Once picture is taken, you can't insert another image or like that. It's the same with microfilm also. So once image is ready, for example, if we have one file and photograph is taken and microfilm roll is ready, but what happens if that file is loose and maybe one or two pages were missing that time and nobody noticed, and afterward we got to find that missing page, and if we want to insert that, that is not possible because once microfilm is processed, we can't do addition and alteration. That is the main disadvantage of these rolls. And preservation, since microfilm rolls requires AC 24/7 all round the clock, and it requires 21 degrees centigrade and approximately, and relative humidity also needs to be maintained, and it requires at least 50% of RS. So it's very expensive. It's very expensive to maintain. Yeah, but it's in the government offices are like ours and archives, and we can do maintain, but like small repositories, private collections and all, it's very expensive for them to maintain. Ultimately, after long researches and experiments, was discovered the process of digitization, which till today has proved to be the most convenient and user-friendly method of mass duplication of records. Digitization is precisely preparation of soft or digital or electronic copies of all types of documents, records, manuscripts, printed books, journals, maps, photographs, etc. Oh, before this, let me tell you few words about photocopier or Xerox machine. Xerox machine we use here in archives for even you all have seen the Xerox machine that in offices, even in shop also, so you have seen. So here in archives mostly I already told you, mostly we use for giving Xerox records to the scholars, and sometimes for official purpose also, and sometimes when we have your exhibition and all, that time also we need, and that time also we need, but particularly for preservation procedure we don't use Xerox. That is for only sharing of knowledge, as I said already, dissemination, giving records to someone, some organization and all, that time we use Xerox machine. Now digitization. Aims of digitization, as I already said what digitization is. Aims of digitization. How we work here, what is the purpose of digitization, especially here in archives, what do we do with digitization? Number one, the Directorate of State Archives is the custodian of the non-current government records. Therefore, its main aim is to save the original records documents from destruction by rough handling and environmental exposure. And secondly, dissemination of the records, that is to reach the records to the scholars globally. As you all got to know about records, how old our records are in our custody, and day by day with the scholars handling and with official work also, many records have become fragile and brittle in condition, acidic in nature. So to preserve all these documents, our main aim is we have taken up the digitization project and dissemination of records. As you see, this is digital world, so many scholars from foreign countries and all, they want to visit, and but if we do all this once digitization process is over, and we are planning to supply them through web, so that would be easier for them, time saving for them. They don't need to visit physically to archives, they can get sitting all these records, whatever they want to read, at their homes only. And thirdly, easy retrieval, time saving and easy handling. Since these digitized records we are keeping here in this thing, hard disks, CDs and all this doesn't require huge space like original records. And easy retrieval means, see, if we, for original records, we have to visit our stack area, and we have lots and lots of records, and that takes time for the person who is handling this job, record supplying job. It's difficult for him to find the records in a short period of time, and that is time consuming for records suppliers as well as for the researcher or students who wants that records. And that is by doing digitization, with this digitized copies, that time is going to be saved. And easy handling means records are our physical, because these files and all these documents have become very fragile, and not only that, yeah, volumes are very huge. Some of files are very huge, bundles are very huge, and it's very difficult for them to handling. Whereas these digitized copies are very small in nature, so it's easy to handle anytime, anywhere you can take or give. It is easier to handle. To combat the shortage of manpower, technical support is easier. Day by day, all the offices are facing manpower. So, see, for records applying job, we need many persons to do this job. Whereas in digitized copy, if we do all this digitized and put in somewhere, and we need just one technician to supply all this records, we don't need that much of manpower comparing to the original records. Nature. Now next is nature of digital images. What kind of digital images are there? What are the things we needed? Like electronic or soft images are made of pixels, as you all know, or dots of various color and densities. The quality of the digital image depends on its resolution. Resolution, you all know, DPI or PPI, image format, raw, that is just raw means just taken, just scanned, and that sometimes JPEG and PDF and TIFF, etc., and certain other factors. Digital images have only electronic existence and can only be seen with the help of an electronic projection system like computer, TV monitor, or projector, or screen. These images can be copied any number of times or transferred to any other similar devices. Next is equipments for digitization. For digitization, the equipment needed is a scanner, that is line scanner or camera scanner. Here again, line scanner can be divided into two categories, that is face-up scanner and flatbed scanner. There are of course several other types of scanners like big drum scanner, ADF scanner, etc. Digital camera convert the image into digital form instantly, where we can have the facility to edit the pictures taken and can be transferred to the computer instantly and get the printout easily, comparing to analog photography, where one has to wait for the developing process and does not have the choices of editing and seeing the pictures right after taking. These days, you all have seen the digital cameras. You know how it works. It's very easy. If you don't like the pictures, you can delete and you can again take the pictures, or you can do Photoshop. You can do all these things in digital camera. Whereas analog camera, which earlier used to be, which needed rolls, film negative rolls. So all this job was not possible in those cameras. Once photograph is taken, if photograph is not taken properly, if there is light exposed and the photograph is spoiled or something, there was no choices of editing. And during developing time also, those photographs get spoiled. Whereas in digital camera, we have lots and lots of choices. Editing, you can see the pictures right after taking, and you have the lots and lots of facilities for editing those photographs at the very instant. And here in archives, we prefer face-up scanner in place of camera and flatbed scanner. Face-up technology does less harm to the brittle documents, and there is less chances of damaging the records than the flatbed scanner. Flatbed scanner may damage the fragile documents due to external pressure, and camera sometimes fails to produce accurate image. Here, as I the face-up scanner is they have face-up scanner have camera overhead. Okay, so when you place the documents, it will just scan from above, and you can place the documents one by one. It will scan from above, and there is no chances of damaging the records. Whereas in flatbed scanner, what we have to do is it comes with the cover. That's the flattened cover. So every time you put the documents, you'll have to cover that documents until and unless you cover that, it won't get scanned. Perhaps you all have seen that scanner at home also, some of them. So if you don't cover that scanner, it won't get scanned. So this is not advisable for archival records to say, because our records are very fragile and some are very brittle, and it's time taking also. Every time we have to open the cover and fit the documents and scan, and again you have to open the document, take out the, it's time taking as well as not fit for archival documents, because that cover might destroy already fragile documents. It might destroy or damage the further damage the documents. So, and camera, sometimes what happens is camera they place above the head, so sometimes angle focus is not good, they don't focus properly, and light and camera light also, there is, if there is not proper light, they'll have to adjust everything, camera focusing and everything they have to do, but sometimes it's not possible to get the accurate image like what we want. So only face up scanner gives the exact copy of the original without damaging, without disturbing the original or original records or whatever. If it is damaged also, there is less chances of further damaging by this scanner or equipment. So we prefer this equipment, face up scanner only. Here, digitization process has been divided into 3 phases. First, pre-scanning, scanning, and post-scanning. Pre-scanning, in this pre-scanning process, what we do is we have like what to say, if any organization or archives, whatever it is planning to take up digitization project, what they have to do is they'll have to make a team before, okay? And in that team, what they have to do, first they have to make the digitization team for all this work. So in this pre-scanning, what we do is this includes the job of selection of records for scanning. For big repositories, selection of records is very important. Like here in archives, we prefer fragile documents, brittle documents, because these are already in a deteriorating condition. So we should give them preference. We should do first digitization of all these records who are in the verge of decaying. So after that, for this priority we give to the rare documents, brittle and damaged documents, and after that we go through if the records are okay, and we can start from department wise, which is earlier department wise, and within that department also we have to follow the chronological order. That would be better, so that we follow that way up. Once digitization is started, no series of records should be broken. Okay, a particular series once started, it should be completed. That is better for repositories, or if we are talking about archives, that is better for archives also, because once one department is completed, we can move on to another, and the job will be complete. Job will be done. After the selection of record series, numbering should be done to maintain the sequence of the documents, which makes easier to track the missing documents or pages. What we do here is, once the documents are selected, we just check thoroughly, physical checking we do. Digitization team, we have made a digitization team, we have entrusted few people with this job. Their job is to make thorough checking of all those documents, if they are in proper order or not. If the documents are loose, they'll have to see the sequence. If the documents are not, whether are in sequence or not, everything we have to check. And once checking is done, and once we are satisfied that yes, documents are ready, then we have to give the pagination. We have to give pagination, and once the pagination done, that is ready for scanning, because pagination is very important, because digitization vendor and all, they don't know the records of archives or value of archives, we can say. If they find all this in not in proper order, they will do whatever they got into their hands. Okay, so to make it in properly, we have to give pagination, we have to paginate every document, and that will make easier for us to trace afterwards. If they have not done the job properly also, we can find the error with that pagination. That will make us easier to do the job. And then register should be maintained to keep the record of supplying and receiving back to the documents from the hired agency. So what we do here is we maintain one register. Once document is ready, once the pagination is done, we have entrusted one person who maintains the register, and and it is the duty of that person to make the list of all the documents which we are going to supply to the vendor or digitizing agency. Okay, so here she will make the list of all those documents, department wise, year wise, and everything. And when that is done, here she will supply that all those records to the agency. And agency, now comes the scanning part. Agency should scan the documents as per the instruction of the authorities of the records. This is precisely preparation of digital duplicates of the records of a repository. This process may be divided into certain stages. Scanning of the original records, which is actually preparation of their electronic images. Collecting the images of a particular volume of a series in separate folders in a suitable storage medium. So in this scanning process, this is totally done by the hiring agency or digitization agency. Okay, their job is to receive records from us, and they also maintain the same register like what we are doing. They also have to maintain all those procedure what we are following, and after that, when they receive the documents from us, it is their duty to follow. They'll have to follow all the instruction of the repositories or the authorities of the records. Like while giving them this job, repositories or archives or library, whoever it is, they give particular specification to them, like regarding resolution, size of the documents, image size, canvas size, and grayscale or color mode, and these things, resolution, what should be the resolution of the documents, what format they should give us, everything. So they'll have to follow all these instructions as per the repository's instruction only. They'll do all the jobs. And while scanning, what happens is they'll have to make separate folder for each and every documents, each and every folder, each and every file, and they have to keep separate all those files and give storage in a medium which is easier for them or for us to see. And next comes post scanning. And post scanning comes, there are few things like digital editing, quality control. Oh yeah, one more thing I forgot to mention. And digital comes, it is the person who are doing digitization, that is also digital editing, also the part of their job. Before submitting us, first they'll do the scanning part, and after that they will do digital editing. And digital editing is required because all records are not equal in some respects, like darkness, color, some are deep, some are faded, and printing, handwriting, etc. Here in archives, we have handwritten records, printed records, typing records, and various records. So in that manner, some are faded, some are intact, still in good condition, and some are ink, blood, this kind of records. So they'll have to make it uniform. For this job, they'll have to do editing. After scanning, they'll have to do editing of all the records. And so while scanning, so if they are in a hurry, some of what they do is they don't keep the documents properly, and some documents are truncated, not, or some of it like corner pages are not welcome, and that what some of the documents are cut in the last in the line or something like that. So they'll have to, or sometimes what happen is unwanted areas coming within the scan portion are all to be deleted, and some of discoloration of records occur due to the presence of microorganisms of various types or acidification of documents, sometimes due to damage of the binding part or broken bound volumes. Images are not aligned properly, which needs to be edited, and scan size, resolution, format, and other image specifications may need to be altered. All this job they'll have to do during their editing part. And then quality control. This is an important part of the entire process of digitization. What they do is during quality control, they'll have to check thoroughly their job. After procurement of the digitized images in the desired format and other specifications, their correctness has to be checked from all possible angles to eliminate mistakes of various types. Example, duplication of a particular phrase, truncation, as I told you earlier, truncation of the record area, inclusion of unwanted areas, defects like rotation, bending of lines, lack of sharpness due to shaking, a focusing error, non-observance of required specifications, omission of pages, etc. Sometimes what happens is they are in a hurry. While doing in a hurry, they miss the pages. Okay, they miss the pages. So all these things they'll have to check thoroughly during this quality control. They'll have to do each and every checking thoroughly. For this work, efficient person has to be deployed who works diligently keeping pace with the scanning. And after doing this, they'll submit to us. They'll submit to us, and then also we have our own digitization team, and here also we check, we do thorough checking. We have quality control team, and there also our personnel does the same thing, repeating the same thing. From their side, this is okay, but from our side, we again have to do all the same job, especially checking, quality control. All the checkings we do, and once it is done, if there is no error, if there is error, so they'll send them back to make it again, redo again. And if they find it is okay, satisfactory, then they'll submit to us, and it's our duty, archival officer, again we do checking, again we do thorough checking and all. And we, if we don't find any error or everything is done properly, then we accept that doing a job of theirs, that is scanning of theirs. Otherwise, again we send them back to rectification. Conversion to other formats. After doing this digitized scanning part, it should be converted to some. After completion of final quality control or rectification, the image format may be changed to that required for mass storage. The images are stored in storage media of different capacities, estimated to be fit for different size of repositories. The aspect of uploading them to websites of the organizations for administrative or academic use should also be kept in mind. Here in Directorate of State Archives, we take data in two formats, JPEG and combined PDF, and in few cases TIFF format in external hard disks. Like large size documents, we take in TIFF formats. We have various cartography records were in outside documents. So all those records we take in TIFF formats. Otherwise, we take is normal size that we take in hard disks, and within hard disks we ask for two, JPEG and PDF format. JPEG for PDF for scholars just for reading, and JPEG for if any scholars ask if we have exhibition or like that time we need that time we use from we make the copies from the JPEG format. And server is the final storage of digitized records, and DVDs and hard disks will be kept as backup copies. Once digitization is done, we have server installed here, SAN, that is called Storage Area Network. So we keep all those digitized, final digitized copies there, and hard disks and DVDs also we keep. That is all. That is those two are for backup copies, and server is the final where we have stored many digitized records till date. We are doing still, and this storage area network SAN is equipped with large capacity, and this is for permanent storage and security of digitized records. And LAN also we have local area network that is connected to the research room for dissemination of knowledge or digitized copies to the scholars who can read through the computer installed there. What we do is, whenever scholars give requisition for the some particular file, so we supply them through SAN. We supply them to SAN, local area network. We supply them to the research room, and they read there through computer. And storage. Ideal temperature for storing DVDs, hard disk, etc. should be 16 to 22 degrees centigrade, and relative humidity should be 45 to 50%. Storage free, cool and dry environment. Fire protection and control measures should be taken to the fullest. All these measures should be kept in mind. Advantages of digitization. Scientific preservation of original records, easy handling, easy retrieval, time saving, less manpower and space saving. Information dissemination or circulation of records and easy transshipment. Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Hello?
No, ma'am, continue.
Okay, yeah, ma'am, about to finish only. Yeah, almost finished only, ma'am.
Okay,
So,
okay, ma'am.
lastly, digital copies are not tested against time and have not proven the permanent solution for the preservation of records. Therefore, after every 5 or 10 years, if the records are stored in CDs or DVDs, should be checked and transferred to new storage. All the hard disks should be checked and make duplicate copies. All the digitized copies should be prepared in two sets. One set for regular use in the office premises, and second set should be kept in the remote site for emergency retrieval or to save from the natural calamities. Here what we do is, just now I said this last line that office premises said emergency retrieval for to save from the natural calamities. What we do is, here we have one server, and Bhavani Datta Lane also we keep records for. It is always advisable for archives and all the repositories to have duplicate copies and have remote areas for to keep all those records for emergency retrieval. If there goes if there is any natural calamities, fire and all like that, that time at least you'll have the second copies for retrieval. And regarding, let me tell you in brief about our archival digitization. Here in archives, we started digitization of records. Actually, we have here in photo archive section glass negatives, microfilm records, and also we started in the year of 2008. Okay, we started with glass negatives around 42,000. In that we have photo negatives, film negatives, and glass negatives in glass slice, and we started with that. And some positive photographs also. All those belonging to revolutionaries, Bengal revolutionaries, covering period from 20th to 40th, 20s to 40s. Okay, and we have there in like regional Bengali letters, regional letters, and foreign languages also letters and photographs and all, and microfilm, because we have few that has also been digitized already. And from 2000, in the year of I think it was 2014, we started full-fledged digitization of the records. Till date we have around 2 crores of, I'm telling in pages, okay, 2 crores of pages digitized from various departments. And we have already done the IB records, intelligence branch of Bengal police, we have already done that. Scanning part is over, and the rest is going on. And few PWD records also, electoral roll records, it's going on. It's on. We have at this moment we have given priority to electoral roll records just because of NRC and all. So, and rare books, good number of rare books are already digitized, and indexes from various departments of earlier periods from that Bhavani Datta Lane office, all those are digitized, and brief proceedings volumes which are in single copy, and those are very fragile and brittle, so those are also digitized, and it's still going on. So judicial, our earlier records like revenue records, judicial, all these records are digitized. Indexes of all these departments are already digitized. So these are briefing about the records which are digitized from state archives. Uh, hello, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. This much only, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, because I know things are difficult when you're asked to jump the gun. But
No, it's okay. She's my colleague. After we are working together, she might be having problem. Yeah.
Yes,
I
yes,
might have faced the same. Yeah.
yes. Thank you,
I
ma'am.
hope.
And yes,
I hope your students. I hope your students didn't have problem to
no,
understand
no.
here.
We also have one question. I will request Shreya to take over. Shreya.
Yes, please. Ma'am. Now there is a question from Shori Ghosh from Scottish Church College.
Okay.
Which factors will influence the choice of reprography? I repeat,
Sorry?
which factors will influence the choice of reprography?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you properly.
Which
Fungus, you
factors?
are. Acha, which
Yeah.
factor? Huh?
Which
Which
factors?
factor?
Which factors will influence the choice of reprography?
I couldn't get you.
Reprography, ma'am.
Reprography.
Yes, yes. Which factors will influence the choice of reprography?
Which factors will influence the choice of reprography?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Hello. Hello. Problem. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Acha. Yeah. Hello.
Ma'am, can
Yes,
you hear
shall
us?
Shall I repeat the
Hello.
question once again?
Hello.
Hello. You
Ma'am,
are clearly audible, ma'am.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. Shall I
Hello.
repeat the question?
I'm not getting you actually. Hello?
I
Hello?
think she's having problems hearing us this time.
Technical glitches, I think.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, you can do what? She can write me here.
Ma'am, if you could
No,
check the
question
chat
is
box.
yes. The
Ma'am, she
question
can
is
write me
here
here.
in the chat box.
Hello? Hello?
If you can check the
Hello?
chat box. I don't think she can hear us.
Ma'am,
Please.
can you hear us, ma'am? Shashi, ma'am?
Network problem. I'm going outside the room.
Okay.
Okay,
Hello?
okay.
We will forward this question to her, and whatever answer she'll give,
She gives.
we
Yes,
will-
ma'am.
Yes.
You can do one thing. You just forward me the question. I'll write you back. Is that okay? Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
yes,
Yes,
yes, yes,
certainly.
ma'am.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
She cannot
Hello?
hear us. Shashi ma'am, it's fine. We will forward the question to you and you can give me the answer and forward it to the student to ask the question. Okay, ma'am.
Hello? Hello?
It's okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, I think I'm having problem here.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, you can do one thing, ma'am. Whatever questions they have, you can send me, then I'll answer them. Is that okay?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. That is
Thank you.
fine. Yes, ma'am. That is
Yeah.
fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So
Okay.
as we move from the second speaker, now we actually move to the third speaker. Momita ma'am, can you hear me? She has already joined. Ma'am, can you hear me? Riddhi Sriya, can you see her?
She was here just now.
Yes.
I'm checking.
She's still here. Ma'am, can you hear us?
Yeah, she's here.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
We
can
can hear you,
now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay,
So
but we can't see you.
can you switch on your video, ma'am?
okay. I'm starting now. Okay. Hello.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Yes.
Yes. Now we can get me. I
Yes.
think. Okay.
It's been quite a ride for us today. But
Hello.
yes, ma'am.
Now-
So now
Uh,
that we are ready, ma'am, you can share your screen and you can start with the presentation. She will be speaking on conservation and preservation of archival documents. And it's a very, very interesting talk because we have listened to it last year also. So ma'am, without wasting any more time, the floor is yours.
Unfortunately, I am the last one, but it is. I am very sorry for my late. Somehow I could not be able to join with you. I'm really very sorry. Anyway, now I am starting my lecture. Let's talk regarding the conservation. The conservation is an activity or art for the protection. Can you hear me all? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
You're
ma'am. You are
audible.
clearly
Okay,
audible.
okay. The conservation is an activity of art for the protection or prevention of books, manuscript, document, ephemera with national, social, cultural, historical, or personal importance. Documents have existed in one form or other since man invented the art of writing. Okay, so since we are talking about the archive collection, mostly we are talking here because most of the document in our archive is the paper-based material. Since dating back from company period, this comprise the government report, circular, order, gazette notification, electoral roll, banner script, rare books, periodicals, drawing, chart, map, everything. So everything I could say in this as yeah, but I mostly paperback. We have also our digital collection or photo archive, microfilm. That is a different thing. But mostly we are dealing with this paper document. So we have the so the
Ma'am,
basic material and
ma'am,
constituents of this physical entity of this archival material are mostly organic. Since this is dealing with paper, so there is some organic material also. This is this is susceptible to natural decay or deterioration. So now it is our the other here we use the board, clothes, leather, thread, ink, adhesive, everything, and that is the causative agent which cause the deterioration of the paper, mostly this kind of paper documents. And this deterioration now, what is the factor of this deterioration? We can say in the deterioration. What is deterioration? Deterioration is a change of original state of any material by interaction between the object and the factor of this distraction. So different type of deterioration are mostly there is a of the paper based material are reflected in wear and tear, shrinkage, cracks, brittleness, wrapping, bioinfestation, discoloration, abrasion, hole, dust, dirt accumulation, etc. So it's a two-factor mostly environment. We can now divide it in two factor. Mostly the environmental factor, which encompass the climatic factors like light, heat, humidity, and moisture, dust, dirt, water. This kind of. And biological factor, the microorganism like the insect, different kind of, or rodent. In insect, we can also say the we can also say that silverfish or something like the termite or rodent like also there is different biological agent, and you know that is a very good nutrition for those insect or whatever you say, termite, etc. They get their nutrition from this paper because it may made with the cellulose is the most whatever you say that basic material of paper making. So what we see in the paper sometimes, and different there is different kind of record also. It may be in stone, clay tablet, parchment, palm leaf, birch bark, paper or textiles for papyrus, etc. But mostly, since I am talking regarding the paper, there is we sometimes find that it is a fragile, brittle, something weak or yellowish color. You may find it sometimes, or it's also sometimes loss of flexibility. It's very hard sometimes. Whenever you try to fold, it may tear or it may be break. Sometimes we get in archives some records that are mostly that are so brittle. Sometimes whenever we try to hold try to hold in our hand, sometimes by something powder like paper material is something like a powder, it's just falling in the ground and we can't find anything and we are helpless sometimes. It's so brittle. So it loss of flexibility. Sometimes we find the foul smell, and you get the pinhole type in the document also. Sometimes we get and tunnel like also. It's sometimes caused due to the silverfish, this kind of insect, or sometimes a blackish or grayish spot also we find. So
ma'am,
hello.
ma'am, yes, yes. This is Srimoy again. Ma'am, shall I share my share your presentation?
Sure, you can.
Okay, okay. Then let me share my screen and maybe the students can follow it better then. Because the presentation has many pictures.
You can share it. Hello.
Is it visible?
Yes, yes. You can go the next page also. This sometimes I am talking regarding the conservation.
Okay.
You may find third slide, I think, or second slide also. Second slide, you go to second slide.
Yes.
Yes, there you may find something tunnel like it's happened in the record, and this is the mostly this is the here is the tunnel like, and here this is the termite. I am showing you that this is the tunnel in the page. This something happened due to the that is the silverfish. It or it may happen also due to the termite also. These are the other picture here, finding some blackish or gray spot. This there you find something or pinhole like spot are findings there. And if you go to third slide, they are I'm just repeating because I told you earlier in a nutshell that they are a positive agent of document deterioration. So you please go to third slide also. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I have
Yes,
gone to the
Yeah.
third slide.
Okay.
Huh.
So various scientific investigation of the causes of decay have shown that deterioration causes mainly in one or more of the following physiochemical situation. I told you in beginning in a nutshell that that is some moisture, heat, rainfall, whatever, some biological agent also, or some uh, uh, heat, exposure of light or moisture, or frequent or variation of temperature, humidity, and moreover in the paper there is some acidic content already, because we sometimes use the alkaline or acidic you use the acidic material for paper manufacturing. Sometimes we use alkaline base, some a bonding agent is used, that is there is some chemical which may affect the paper. So already it may be acidic or it may be alkaline, too much alkalic or too much acidic. That is not the that is not good for the paper, and that may be very prone to decay or damage. And due to deterioration, many fungal or bacterial infection can be bacteria or fungus maybe grow very easily on alkaline paper, or oxidize the oxidizing agent also. And oxidizing agent is something like ink also. Ink is actually acidic. Acid is one of the major property of ink we use, and it may affect the paper also. And so in that case it react with the papers, and react in the papers, and it may cause damage with the paper. If you go to the next slide, I can show you the paper. That is the brittle paper. If you go to the next slide, I
Yes,
can
I
show
have.
you.
I have gone to. Huh.
This is not the next slide. Yeah. Very brittle document. If I am showing you the photographs, and these photographs I am this is the brittle document mostly, and we may find more brittle than the document we are exhibiting here. We found it various times. We found that the document is in more worse than this type of document also. And this is the stack up sheet. Next picture, that is the black and white picture. And this document is the actually the moisture content. They have soaked the moistures from the environment, and sometimes due to rainfall, and sometimes for our lacking for a lack of knowledge, we sometimes keep it in the near to the some water storage system. There we found that document are moist too much. They have captured the too much moisture from the environment, and they have stuck with each other. And unfortunately, these papers are very much difficult to restore in their previous. It's not possible to restore it in original one, but somehow we can restore and enhance the strength with some using some method also. So if that's why we adopt some conservation process, and conservation is mostly the, if you go to next slide, I can show you that our record room after I can give you some idea. If you go to the next slide, that record keeping process in archive, mostly in paper document. You go to next slide. Hello.
Yeah, yes, I have gone to next slide, ma'am.
Okay, okay. There you find that sometimes these are the here I am showing you the picture. This is the kept in the two wooden board, and this is 5-ply wooden board, and we keep the document in preserve in this way. Sometimes they are also preserved in some archive. I have shown some just like I can give you some example in Nehru Memorial Museum and Library. I have found that these are keeping in this box-like way. This is the box-like system. And nowadays we are also using some mobile compact shelving that is helpful, where you have to keep up lots and thousands of crores of papers document in small storage. Here we can't. I am telling this is our archival ethics also. Whatever we are digitizing, we are duplicating, we are photocopying the records, but record is unique when it was created, and it is. So we are not in a position to destroy those documents which have been already digitized or duplicated in different manner. So we have to keep it, and so first of all we have to keep this document. And nowadays storage problem is very serious issue. So nowadays there is so many techniques we are adopting. Various archives, libraries, they are adopting so many techniques to keep this original one in a small area, but in a good quantity. So, and in there is third picture, there is tissue lamination paper. This is for curative measure we are applying. Just as an example, actually this is part of curative conservation. And whenever I am talking about the preventive conservation is the to adopt the preventive conservation, we have to take some preventive measures. So we have, it's necessary for regular inspection of record room as well. You can see the next slide. You can say go through the next slide also. I have given some point. I have mentioned some point here. Regular and proper cleaning, dusting of record document, maintenance of optimum climatic condition as far as practicable, periodic fumigation of document. Now let's talk the regular inspection. I am giving you only one example. In our archive at Bhavani Datta Lane, Bhavani Datta Lane, there is the record room in the ground floor. From ground floor to fourth floor, everywhere is a record room. We have mostly the archive is for the record, and we are the custodian of record. So record is the primary consideration, and always not only primary consideration in our, but also the major consideration. So we have for the record, we need regular vigilance. Sometimes we find that whenever some rainfall, severe rainfall due to some drainage there is some problem of drainage and document get moisture stuck. So we have to we need regular vigilance, and whenever we find it, we have to think about this. Sometimes last year also during the COVID moment, there was a problem. Some wall is a termite infested badly. So the archivists were very much scared, and they had to take some measure. During the COVID situation also, they had to take measure. So regular in that case, since that 2 months during lockdown or 1.5 months it was closed, it was difficult for us. So it is always in our consideration. It should be always in our consideration that we should have regular vigil of this record room area, and we need the maintain the its humidity as well as its regular humidity as well as temperature also, and regular cleaning dusting is primarily necessitated, and after some record room instruction also we can, and there is a picture of fumigation as periodic fumigation of document I mentioned here, and this is the fumigation chamber. Here we use the thymol, and record are kept in a pyramidal shape, and they are in such a way there is a hole also in the last rack. In the bottom rack, we in a some is the bulb here, and in a pot there we keep the thymol, and mostly thymol are used in this case. And here also I am showing some fumigation chamber also nowadays are used, and thymol vapors are go from below to top. They are the going, and it is used mostly thymol and paradichlorobenzene are used, and thymol are used mostly for the any bacterial infection, and paradichlorobenzene is a basic used most of for fungal infection also, and these are used to kill the destroy the fungus or bacteria of this chamber. And there is some uh, uh, um, for record room conservation. So for conservation in record room, we have to follow the modern scientific record room Indian standard IS 2663 1889. Mostly this Indian standard ISI we used to follow, and one thing, if we are if the record room is established in the temperate zone or something like, or where is the desert or something very dry zone where the rainfall is not too much, there you can establish the record room in the ground floor or basement. But in the in moisture where the relative humidity is much more comparative to dry places like in Calcutta or in any places of Bengal, there you have to establish in record should be keep up not less than first floor. You have to so that we can avoid the problem. We can we can what we have threat of whatever we say, we have threat for any fungal infection or any moisture trapping or any other insect problem. So that's why we have to be aware of that, and that's why it is better if we set up our record room upper than ground floor. So, and where the relative humidity should be the for 45 to 50% within, and preferably if it is the air condition, it should be temperature should be plus minus 22 degrees Celsius. And if there is no, if it is not the AC there, if it is not the AC room, record room, so we have to be concerned regarding the ventilation, that should be well ventilated, that the record should, or that rack area keep the distance at least 3 millimeters from the wall or from the floor also. And record should be kept in the rust proof container, that and in this case, if we use some metallic rack or something, that should be rust proof. And we may use some PU coat there also, polyurethane coat, we may use it, or and if it's the wooden rack, then we should be aware of the termite as well, so that we have to take some therapy also, so that to prevent the termite. And that windows should be provide the metal grill and wire mesh for safety from the outside animal like rodent. And no and proper circulation of air should be there in non-AC room. No stagnant pocket of water for non-AC room. Proper and we have to ensure the crisscross ventilation there. And for control the humidity, we may use the silica gel or dehumidifier. Keeping the insect repellent in the rack area, that is the naphthalene brick, we may use it. We have to aware of the firefighting extinguisher. We have to be aware, and so that the personnel of record room should be well trained that to use that fire extinguisher, so that in case of any emergency they can apply that extinguisher. And these are all preventive conservation methods. And for curative measure, you please go to the next slide. Please go to the next slide. Hello.
Yes, I have gone to the next slide.
Okay. Please go to the. There I am some curative measures we can use, that is the comprise of deacidification, pagination, different preparing process also we have to adopt. And next, the last one is binding. For deacidic, first of all, whenever we are getting any record or any books or files, whatever, we have to we have to shoot the trouble for every page, every single page. So for that, first of all, so that we have to lose the bound volume, or we have to lose the file any. There, first of all, we have to maintain the regularity and regular serial of the pages, and so that we first of all we have to paginate in 1, 2, 3 like we have to paginate. And before so that after getting treatment, after proper restoration, we can get that particular book, rare books, files, reports, etc. in their original chronology. Okay, so for this purpose, we have to do the pagination. Then we may start the treatment. Since paper are mostly first of all, we have to deacidify the paper, because after the how will now the question arise, how we may know that how much it is, what is the basic level of its acidic condition or its alkaline condition. If in that case we have to keep it in our mind that 6.5 plus minus 6.5 is the point. If we dive the point it 1 to 5 is the acidic part, and 6 to 10 is the alkaline. In between 6.5 is the uh, 6.5 is it the basic, that should be it number. So we may use some to decide it, we may use pH pencil, some pH solution also. With that we may use it to determine its acidic condition, acidic, how much it is acidic or how much it is alkaline. In this case, we adopt various deacidification process, and we have to for deacidification. I am talking regarding the dry method and aqueous method. For aqueous method, which first, then for deacidification process, we have to check that I think there is a paucity of time. I have to control myself. I am escaping some major point, but anyway, you can go through the slide, and if you have any question, you can ask me. But I am giving some example. For first of all, check the ink is washable or not. If it is smudges after applying some water on this paper, then we have to use the dry method. And if it is it is not ink is not affected due to the some liquid like water, we may adopt aqueous method. And for dry method or aqueous method, we may use calcium hydroxide or magnesium hydroxide. In that case, calcium oxide and magnesium oxide use some buffer coat on paper, and such we can neutralize the acidic paper and add some alkaline reserve in this way. Or for deacid in our archive, mostly we use that for aqueous process, that is a Barrows deacidification process. There we use carbon dioxide with calcium bicarbonate. Here we here calcium oxide creates some buffer coating on this document. If some and for very brittle document, we may use magnesium bicarbonate and spray on the document. We can we can apply the spray method in this case. So that is the this is the non use of or some dry method also. We can use the gases or vapor of low volatile chemical. Nowadays, different archive of different library are using this they are using this paper like this, and that is the carbon dioxide. That is also very good. Carbon dioxide or the nitrogen, that is we are using now. We use thymol or some fumigation chamber, but they are using nowadays in fumigation chamber this kind of nitrogen or carbon dioxide, and for this purpose just they cut off the supply of oxygen. And some library or documentation center or some archive also using, but this is mostly it is not used in broader way, but some are using it, and in that way you can it is basically hassle free, and mostly paradichlorobenzene, which we are using nowadays, that is the carcinogenic by nature. So we can avoid. And nowadays also, since for the for the killing of fungus or bacteria, some paper are invented by NRLC Lucknow, that is the most conservation research unit. They use some curcumin with this paper. That is the curcumin is the mostly used. That is the form created from the turmeric or some neem, like, and these are curcumin wrapper also they are using to for the manuscript, or curcumin paper they are using during the time of binding also. That is the all organic, I think, and that is the in this way we can whatever we may say, in the we can that chemical that chemical poison, that effect of chemical or bad effect of chemical we can avoid in such a way. Or another uh, next, go to the slide number 21. Slide number, please go to slide number 21.
Yes,
There
ma'am.
I am showing you that paper. This is some repairing process. I am going. This is four almost, but it's not four anyway. I am just reminding that you have some another program also. Anyway, so that is the tissue repair, and here is the full pasting, where the written material is some is in the one side of the paper is written or printed. That here we can apply the full pasting. One side we can use the plain moida like paste, but and there we this is like that, and this is the tissue repair, where the record is in both side of this paper. If for in the both side of for paper we have to use the tissue paper and archival tissue paper, that is different type of and very specialized type of tissue paper, and use a CMC paste, this tissue, so that the record can be read or can be shown in two ways of the document. And sometimes, and for very brittle document, we may use the chiffon paper also. And after repairing, where the lamination is required in archive, is to refer the archival lamination, where record are sandwiched within the cellulose acetate foil and Japanese tissue paper, apply with tissue some acetone, and their record is sandwiched between the cellulose acetate foil and the cellulose acetate foil and that tissue paper also in between the sandwich. And this lamination can be reversible. That is the point. And National Archive is applying this process since now. And there is another kind of machine lamination. Machine lamination, this is not reversible. And for machine lamination, we have to use the heat and press. Again, the heat is not heat is not applicable. It is not recommended for any paper document also. Next process is binding, and for binding there is a different kind of binding techniques: archival binding, stitching binding, publication binding, spiral binding, wire stitching, thermal binding. But in archive there is different kind of archival binding, different method are applied, and some steps are there also. First, so it comprised with the 13 steps for binding. Before binding, we have to go through all the restoration measures like pagination, repair, guarding, gathering, filling, getting paper, trimming, stitching, gluing, backing, rounding, cutting board, everything. So it comprised with the all measures. And last of all, I must say that this is a totally technical matter. Unless and until you come and visit and experience the first-hand experience with all of you, it's very difficult in a written form or in some PowerPoint presentation. It is very difficult to make you aware regarding the conservation of our record. So I have tried my best. So, but I don't know how much you have understood the whole matter. So now it is not now your part to ask me questions so that um, I can so that I can give you some or share my knowledge with you. So question answer may be started round. Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
If you have any question, you can ask me. A question korle actually whatever you have, I will try. I'll surely try to make it clear. But in this short time, or you convince regarding this conservation. So I am also not anyway. Please ask me whatever you want to know.
Actually, the students
Hello.
have not asked many questions. So
I don't know. Maybe they are
we don't
tired of
know.
it, or they
No, no.
practical based. That's why it is very
Actually,
difficult. I am.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
we will share your PPT with them, and then if they have anything, a very serious question, we will definitely email you so that you can answer, ma'am.
Okay. So please don't hesitate. Whatever you want to know, please ask me or mail in our official also, or my personal mail also. You can ask me. I'll try to. It has been the most difficult restoration process. In my experience, most difficult restoration process is binding. Archival binding is really very difficult for us. And one more thing, that is I am not in a position to describe this. That is a map mounting. That is totally practical based. And if you come in archive national, we normally due to some COVID situation nowadays, we are not organizing any classes, but we used to organize 3-month conservation course. So there you may have some practical knowledge. There is the some you get some idea. That another point is that is the map mounting. The map is the bigger one. This is not within the A4 size. That is much bigger. Like sometimes just the size of the map is just like a by 12 by 12 room. Sometimes some A0 or A1 size you may also get it, and it is very difficult to keep it. So there we have to apply some method that is called map mounting. That is really very difficult for us. And archival binding, that is also difficult, because first of all and last of all, we have to keep the some archival whatever we can say, some archival whatever you say that um, whatever that we should not hamper the authenticity of the document. Okay, we should not Uh, that is the most point. And another one is we should not try to restore or of the document or apply any conservation method which may hamper the its original nature. If we try to just restore in such a way that it's the we try to this original one like yellowish page should be like that, whatever this color, if there is any smudges or any cross like or any change spelling mistake or any error, that should not be hampered, that should be kept in original as it is, which we have got. If there is any blank hole or something like pinhole, we have to repair it in such a way that so that anyone can understand that there was an damage or there was an hole or that was been there are some cut marks, everything. So it maybe that should be preserved also. Any question? Hello? Hello?
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
we hear?
Shreya, please take over. Shreya.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes. Is there any other question?
Yes, a question is there from Shondipam Das from Scottish Church College. Ma'am, in your experience, what has been the most difficult restoration of any archival document?
That I have told you now. So I have shown this question in my that is my mobile, and accordingly I have tried to
Yes, ma'am. You have answered this.
yes, and I like to give you some example that originality and aesthetic character of document should be kept intact. And which I have already mentioned in slide number 13. Okay, there is I mentioned that emotional value or where you have sometimes in record we may show that we may see that there is a signature and of the someone like you may mention like Vidyasagar or Raja Ram Mohan or Babu Mathura Mohan, where you may, if you find some pain mark and just below of their signature, we have to keep it in this way, and it should be intact. If there is some work of if any e-book, there is one question I have seen. You may please tell me, and again that central what about the
Central
question?
Vista. Yes, Shonipan Das has already asked this question in the first lecture. That is, in your opinion, do the transfer of those records poses a potential risk and damage to the archives?
Clearly, there is a potential risk. During the transportation, the record manhandling of records or sometimes in the manner of keeping a manner of record that may or manhandling that may affect the record. And sometimes if you where you are keeping it, we have to keep it in your mind. Is it the near the toilet? We have sometimes for the appraisal of record, we used to go to different places where we find the record sometimes and near to toilet, because they do not have other places. They are not getting the more place, so they are not aware of these files also. sometimes the thing that is not that will not be used in future, or it has no application, so they're not aware of it. Sometimes they're keeping it in very that is not fit for the record, so that sometimes happen. And during this I can give you some example. I have heard that whenever we join in archive, we found lot of records, PWD records. They are in haphazard way. There is no subject list or some checklist also, which is very essential. Or if we may maintain the method of transfer of records, you have to firstly you have to apprise any archivist or from the person who are deputed by that particular office. So they have to prepare the checklist or subject list, whatever, what they are transferring. So, but without any checklist or subject list, some records of a particular department, they came with a truck and they just loaded with truck and just threw it in our archive in such a way that we had to. Now still we are now preparing its arrangement, preparing its whatever you may call the using the some management method, archival arrangement method. We have to use it. So we need to, first of all, we need to go through that record. We have to separate it. We have to, and it is very long process. So in between the record are, it's not always
Ma'am,
possible.
adding to this, Shondiban has also asked that whether they actually maintain any kind of safety protocols or not.
In
While
archive,
yes,
in archive, we are using some safety protocol, like the fire extinguisher, or time to time record room vigilance, or method applying some preventive or curative method of this record. And we nowadays we are digitizing the records so that we can permanently keep that original one in some better way, or with some modern, applying some modern techniques we are trying to apply it. But before that we have to digitize so that we can render the service to the actual user. So nowadays surely we are applying it, but for this, or we are the only custodian of records. Actual the originator or the creating body, any department, any agency, what they are using, how they are
so
keeping
ma'am,
their
in the
records.
case of Central Vista project,
Uh,
he is asking this question, that whether the relics of the national heritage are
hmm,
maintaining the safety protocols or not.
for national vista, I think since this is very new, they are using also adopting some method. I am I am hopeful that they are using some technique, modern technique, and using surely some protocol, and moreover there are some act also, public record act in central government. But still we don't have public record act, but they have their public record act from 1990. They have the since that, and public for in following that public record act, surely they have to, I think they have to maintain the protocol, surely, because there is a every creating body whom they have the 30 years old document, they have to transfer it to the NAI or National Archives of India. But we don't have that record, that act. If we had that act, all the records which are the declassified, that could become here. But it's not always maintaining here, and there is some record room guidance also for the creating agency for central government. So it is nowadays maintained from the actual ministry or actual central offices, central there, but here it is really difficult in our archive. But for Central Vista, I think I am hopeful they will maintain.
All right, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Mhm.
Now,
Okay.
I would
If-
like to, yes, ma'am. You want to say something, ma'am?
Now, I want to say one thing. If there is some hazy or you want to make it clear more, please mail me or ask me. Or if are really interested, then in future we may try to do some more research on that so that we can make you understand through online in this concert practical based classes only. I should be more careful regarding this. How so that in future I can do justify with this lecture or with this subject, whatever.
Yes, thank you, ma'am, for such an engaging session. Now, I would like to refer Dr. Riti Bhattacharya to deliver the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Uh,
Riti, over to you.
Thank you, Shreya. Now, on behalf of the Department of History, Scottish Church College, I extend a really heartfelt vote of thanks to the Directorate of State Archives for extending their helping hands to organize this webinar for our students. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to the Director of the State Archives, Dr. Shimonti Shen, for this webinar and for the previous webinars and field visits. A special thanks to Bidishadi, Srimoti Bridisha Chakraborty, who is always cooperating with us and help us with answering all our queries and concerns. So she's the go-to person whenever we are having any problem. We'll just ring her up and she then firefights. So thank you, Vidishadi. I would like to extend our vote of thanks to our speakers, Sri Shumit Ghosh, Srimati Shoshi Subba, and Dr. Momita Chakraborty, who spared time from their busy schedules and help our students to understand various aspects of archives, archive management, conservation, preservation, digitization. So thank you, speakers. I, on behalf of our department, would like to thank our principal, Dr. Madhumanjari Mondol, who's always encouraging us with such seminars and other activities. Our vice principal, Dr. Shupratim Das, in helping with our correspondence with the state archives. I thank our bursar, Dr. Rajyashree Ghosh, and our senator secretary, Dr. Vidisha Sinha. I would also like to thank the teachers and students of Bethune College, Herembo Chandra College, and Shama Prasad College who participated in this webinar with us. Finally, the history department thanks all the students who are the real reason for organizing this webinar. Hope this webinar and the materials that the speakers will share will help you immensely in your skill enhancement course. So thank you all.
Thank you, Riti.
Thank
I
you
think
so
we have-
much.
Yes.
Yes, thank you to my colleagues. Thank you to the faculty of the 3 colleges who joined us. Thank you to all the students for your patience. Thank you all. And thank you to the West Bengal State Archives once again.
all of you. Mhm.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sure. Thank you all. Listen our lecture here.
Thank you.
Who endure us. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Students, the feedback link has been posted in the chat box. We request all of you to please fill it up. As soon as you fill it up, the certificate will be generated. So please do the needful. It will not remain open forever.
So are we coming to an end?
Yes, yes. Students, once you have filled up the feedback form, you may leave the meeting.
কোথায়
Students, you can leave this meeting. Sir, recording